Welcome back to In the Shadow of Fire. You turkey. Oh my gosh, I interrupted my start time. Um,
What?
Last session, the group spent time investigating, exploring, and understanding a bit about their city. And some strange chance things came upon them. Namely, inside the ship that was commandeered by the merchant captain Reams, they found a strange beacon, a stone that seems to be a scrying source or a location that can be scryed very easily and possibly allows the scryer to see more upon scrying. Um, they also learned that the individual that Halo wished to have speak to Lady Alcantara regarding the happenings on Sliver Isle was brutally murdered and turned into a gory trophy, taxidermied and mounted, his head taxidermied and mounted to a block of wood, and left inside of the rest home inside of the temple grounds, where farmers inside of the temple grounds would go and coordinate. At the end of that session, I gave the group 7 days to kind of role play out amongst themselves, and the matters of what happened during that time with them are known to them. But we are jumping in time a bit to the return of Lady Aristotle across the Nadrasi Bridge to Kasari Yanwi. So, the start of the day when she's expected to return, quick notation. No one in the 7 day downtime, and I know it's no fault of your own, and I was definitely hoping it would be something that was paid attention to, but it was not. No one decided to send out scouts ahead to the Nadrasi Island or have a receiving party for them at the midway point on Nadrasi Isle for that party. So that will be taken into account. Just keep in mind we're playing to your
Whoops.
surroundings. So just
That's noble crap that got to be figured out, and that's not on me.
Doesn't seem like a me job, does it?
that.
Okay, I'd like to point out.
No, no, hold on.
I regularly forget things, and reminders would be nice if you guys actually to remember those things.
Team perk makes the dream work. So that said, no big problem there. But the morning of the day she's anticipated to return, at what time you do not know she will return. You obviously have the day to everyone. I'm going to start with Lady Alcantara, of course, and then we'll move down through the list and terminate with Dan. So go ahead, Matt, unless Dan is pulled into it sooner by someone else, which again is an option for anybody. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Matt. Tell me what Lady Alcantara is doing on the day of Lady Aristotle's anticipated return.
Sorry, I'm slightly. Can you do someone else
Sure.
first? I'm slightly still like trying to figure things out in my head as to what I'd be doing, because again, I literally completely forgot about that entirely. So.
No worries. So then we'll go ahead and migrate from you to anybody you want to volunteer.
I'll do it.
Okay. Sarah, what are you doing on the day of Lady Aristotle's return?
Cyril would go to see Lady Alcantara. Wants to inform her of a couple of things.
So you're basically
You
forcing Matt
bastard.
into doing his turn, regardless.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell him some things that might help him with
Tell
his
her. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Tell her.
I got some
Tell
help
them.
here. I got some help here. How about you and I? How about Cyril and Leaf talk about what they learned about the cities, and then you can go talk to Lady Alcantara, so she doesn't have to talk immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cyril and Leaf are disheveled from long nights of study in Cyril's tower, poring over maps and questioning Leaf about his knowledge of different places where the scrying stone might have originated. And they take that and they walk over to Lady Alcantara with that information.
Is there anything inside of the dialogue? I think what Kevin is trying to do is bleed the information that you've gleaned through role playing out to the group, disseminate it in that fashion.
I was going to tell that information
To Matt.
to Lady Alcantara.
That's good.
Well,
Because-
listen. You and I can just talk about it as if we're doing it, and then when we're done, You could just summarize it again,
Uh,
and we're good.
that
I'm gonna
seems like
skip. I'm gonna skip you two. I'm gonna go ahead to Tim. It sounds like
Let's go to Dan.
we've got a triumvirate. So Matt,
Ugh.
Kevin, and Andy, triumvirate there.
I had a plan.
Fair.
So I plan on going. So okay, in my head, what happened in my side chat? I'm thinking that what I got back happened like yesterday, and yesterday evening I went talked things out with Halo. Figured kind of get the head sorted, and then this morning after my kind of normal go over the books, all that fun jazz with my retainers, I was also planning on going seeing Lady Alcantara.
You guys are the worst.
You do run the town.
Zach, is your intent to drag Matt into role playing outside of when he is ready?
Motherfucking kicking and screaming, my friend. Did you read my post? What does it end with?
All right.
I actually did not get a chance to read his
That's okay.
post.
Just read the last like 3 sentences and you'll catch up.
Great. So we'll start with Dan.
Sounds good.
None of that helped. I'm guessing you have. Do you have a plan for the day?
If it makes you feel
Me?
better, I actually have
know what I'm
figured out
doing, yeah.
what I was going to do at this point.
Dan sounds ready. Let's go ahead and let him give it a go.
Go ahead.
So, my character would be at the ports currently, near the local chess. Currently, you guys wouldn't know, but he's currently disguised as a renowned chess master, an old elf, which is, I haven't come up with a name. Fuck. Long pointy ears. He actually has sleek white hair, long beard, very well kept, gnarled skin, which is very odd for an elf. And he's sitting at a chess hall, playing a match against another well-renowned player.
Okay. Okay.
But he's not that elf. He is whatever.
Right. Since you as your character, not disguised, would be known. Yeah, that's understandable that you would enter into this kind of foray in such a disguise. So the individual in question that you are currently contesting, they are very skilled. Go ahead and make me an intelligence dragon chess check just to see where we're at in the game.
So there'd just be an intelligence check with
If
With
you
proficiency.
if you go to your tools in the bottom corner, you should have dragon chess as an option, I think. And if you click on it, it should give you a query of what ability score you use with it. And
well, I rolled a 20.
okay, a natural 20.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think he's losing, guys.
you know this individual is pretty well known out of Us Novel and is a pretty strong dragon chess player. This is the first time you've gotten a chance to play them. Very early in the game, you recognize the moves as being textbook. Like they are trying a specific strategy that is kind of utilized in the Free Kingdoms a lot, specifically in the Kingdom of Korash. And you're kind of bored with the game very early on and are currently just putting on the facade that the game is interesting while testing out some strategies of your own playing with them. At any point in this game, you know that you can end it in 4 moves.
Cool.
Do you...
Are there any locals in the hall?
Not so much. It does seem that today is a pretty lax day. You've heard some whisperings of strange goings on at the temple in the last 6 days. Definitely a very confusing one. If you've listened to those, you've overheard that there appears to have been some sort of strange murder, and very confusing. You do know that about the same time, you and the other 2 main merchants of the town of Kasari Yanwi did meet with Lady Alcantara briefly and went over the typical monthly routine of giving her an idea of what your current coffers are holding and what expectation of the lady is to guard the specific holds of the merchants in town. So basically, you pay a stipend, effectively a larger tax to the town, and their militia defends things like your warehouse, your trade routes, etc.
I've been upset about the pirates as of late, ransacking my fleets.
When you brought that to the steward's attention, they did note that this was brought to Lady Alcantara's attention by some merchant captains. Specifically, one you knew was going to bring these to their attention, a captain named Reams.
Captain Breens?
Reams.
Reams.
I should have mentioned, he should be in your side notes. I did mention him.
Okay. I get bored of the game and then realize I have other matters to attend to, so I'll finish this match.
He's taken aback at how quickly he's defeated. No surprise to you.
As I'm playing, I kind of look bored.
Oh, you let it be known?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Very prudish, and
he seems annoyed at how quickly he's defeated. But before that, it seemed he thought that he had a chance.
okay. I'll go out back, get rid of my attire, and then head to the port to speak with this Reams, or wherever where is he usually stationed?
They stay on ship. Oh man, I named that ship and I don't know where my notes are on that. Inspiration, if you've got it.
I might have it. Let me check my side chat.
Say that again, John.
The name of Captain Reams' ship. It's not terribly important, but that's the ship. The name that I'm about to get, that's the name of the ship.
I do not have it. You just said that he boarded his ship. You didn't actually mention the name of the ship.
Well, great. I will...
The Northern Star. There you go. I don't fucking know.
The name's boring, Dan.
You're
the
boring.
USS Guam.
I thought you were gonna say guac.
Oh man,
That
so
would actually be awesome. The USS Guac.
I typed fantasy ship name generator, and it's relationships.
That's not what we're looking for.
It's the Weatherford.
Bless you.
What?
The name of
The
it,
weather for sure.
the Weatherfjord.
Yeah, it's
So-
actually a Swedish ship, the Weatherfjord.
No, real talk, Dan. I went into ship name generator because there actually was one below the relationship name generator, and the first option it came up with was the Weatherford, and I'm like, haha. The Weatherford.
Nice.
Is Captain Reams' ship's name. If you go to it, his crew are pretty lax. You would have an idea, just recalling from paperwork that's passed through your office, that this ship is set to set sail in a couple of days, possibly by the end of the current 6 day. The the crew doesn't look like they're really doing much of anything except for kind of watching one of the crew members currently swabbing the deck. Like they're all just kind of, it seems that one might have drawn lots and gotten the short end of the stick in that. But yeah, there are definitely crewmen sitting outside. One of them kind of recognizes you. Oh wait, are you still in disguise or did you switch?
No.
Okay. No, you're
Hail.
not. Hail. What can we do for you?
Why don't you help your crewmen?
We're currently just down to passing off chores as penalties in gambling games, my lord. It's
Fair enough.
we mean no harm by it. It's just only thing we really have to bid out right now. We spent most of our coin in your fine establishments.
What's aboard the ship? What supplies?
We haven't stocked up yet as of yet. My
Well, there's
lord?
work to be done then.
No, we leave in 3 days. We will be stalking on the morrow.
Fair enough. Take me to Captain Reams.
We'll take you to Captain Reeves. And he starts boarding the ship, and the other two don't really understand what's going on or why the person that seems to be the leader of the group is so confused. You walk on board, making your way across the poop deck. And you head to the door at the back end of the ship. I guess you wouldn't pass the poop deck. The poop deck's on the back of the ship. But you are led into the captain's quarters. Inside there's a table kind of set down. Inside of the corners of the table is a map of the Dragon Isles. Pretty ornate stuff we're talking about here, with small little gold pieces that are kind of placed upon the map. These seem to denote trade ports. One seems to be set on where Kasari Onwi would be, and there appears to be a silver ship that's set near that gold piece. He appears to be at a desk near the table, kind of feet up on the desk, reading. As the door opens and you kind of peek inside, you see his feet fly off the table and him slam the book down on the table really quickly, look at the crewman, and then to you, and you see him kind of push, like angry, definitely an angry face, but he pushes it down very quickly. And he says, Lord Elford, what can I help you with?
I was seeking any information regarding the local pirate attacks. There was a particular ship I had interest in.
Yes, we granted the craft that we captured to the Lady Alcontra. It's currently under her watch and protection. I believe the captain of the guard has done a thorough sweep, and the steward or advisor also did a magical sweep of it. From what I understand, there was nothing really much on the ship besides the note that I found and some strange stone that the steward I mentioned had found.
Where do they believe the ship was based in?
Well, according to the note, it said it was from the Rob Tier Society in the Mastiff Peninsula. Strange tidings, to be sure.
What? How do you spell that, John?
The Rob Tier Society? Which you would recognize as Old Alterian for the word predator.
And is believed that the ship was stolen?
We know not. The main issue for some of the other merchant captains were pirates that were placed out and about the pylons underneath the Nadrasi Bridge, or the Big Bridge, as we call it. They haven't caused me and my group any trouble. We just came up this way from Osnobble, maybe 6 days or so ago. And on our way here, close to a roundabout Medisha, we saw the ship and brought it with us.
So they reside on these pylons?
Yes, that's correct. I'm surprised you don't know more about this. It's interesting that the captains haven't come and brought this to your attention. Yes, that is correct. Excuse my impudence there.
You're forgiven. He smiles meekly, like not meekly, but I appreciate him giving me this information. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He kind of stops for a second and then kind of reclaims the conversation, saying, there were reports too of some activity with these pirates moving up north as well, closer to the northern end of the Rended Island and the Adamant Island, that main narrow through those two islands.
Have we made any advances against these? I mean, I understand we're paying a stipend for protection for our ships. what advances have we made to remove these pirates from our
Me and
seas?
2 other merchant captains, because we weren't able to get an audience with you or the other merchants of the town, came to the ruler of Kasarianwi and brought our information to her attention. She said she intended to deal with the matter as she could. But so far as to say, I haven't been out on the seas. Our intent is to head north with the mid-spring gale and head up towards the Mastiff Peninsula ourselves. Although we also have possibly the reason why we've lingered, if you must know, we also have intents in possibly returning back to our homeland in the Trasdoshan coast and picking up a different job there.
Is it possible we can schedule trips together with several ships, strength in numbers?
I have no intention of fighting alongside anyone. That's not what I do. Avoidance of the pirates is our main goal. My lord, I do apologize. We are not we are a part of the merchant navy of Wind, but we are not intending on fighting anyone. We don't have to.
No, I agree, but I think that if ships were to travel in groups,
No,
perhaps it would be more secure for the crew.
I understand your thought processing there, but most crafts, most of the merchant captains are not terribly loyal to the Elanche Enclave. Most loyalties reside elsewhere, so we aren't willing to defend the town, nor are we interested in the other captains' problems. We all come from different places. Like I said, we are not going to fight alongside if the other merchant captains, and us traveling together would be seen for what it is, and I don't think it would deter the pirates.
If you believe so, I still don't understand how traveling. They only reside along the bridge, correct? Or have been for some time?
That's the main source of where we've seen them, correct. That's correct.
Okay.
He shrugs his shoulders. I understand if. Let me make sure you understand my meaning. In the current political climate, with what's going on outside of the town, it's not likely that a group of pirates will see 2 crafts flying different flags and assume that they're working together. They'll be seen as 2 ships passing one another, and this will not halt their advance. And then the other ship that's not the target of their attack would not deter it would not do anything. There would be no, it would be a show of force in that it would be multiple ships, which may not be seen as a show of force to these pirates, but more as
more to plunder. I understand.
Buffet of riches, yes.
Well, what strength has come to the pirates? Have we just let them rule the seas? Have we not
I fight for my
checked
own.
them in any way?
I fight for my own.
I'm just thinking about on the water as of late. Has anybody challenged these pirates?
As I said, we have fought on our own, and we have brought this to the attention of the Lady of Kasariyami. You might be wise to go and speak with her regarding this matter if you have her ear at all.
Certainly.
And more people want to talk to Matt.
That's what I'm trying not to just run to Matt.
Yeah, so what you would basically gather, and what you would kind of gather here in regards to this, is the merchant captains are self-serving. They're merchants. They're not really...
Right. But common goals of...
I get you, but...
I would think would unite people.
I get you, and that's a smart thought, but the thing is if you have that kind of situation, the other person's just going to be the person who's running slower. You know what I mean? So you're not going to want to have somebody traveling around with you when there could be a potential sabotage to make you the target instead of the other one. It's it's again, think of it in a mercantile mind. You're not going to hang out with your competition. Fair?
Sure.
All right.
I would try and unite people,
Well,
at least against the pirates.
yeah, certainly. But this merchant captain Reams is
That's
not.
what I'm doing, or at least attempting to
Well,
do.
this merchant captain does not seem to be keen on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems kind of. I get that.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and are you going to start moving towards the manor, the keep rather?
I'll
Just
spend some time just yammering with this guy until I do what everyone else does, and we all run to Matt.
fair. It does seem that this individual is kind of like at this point just kind of is relegating their answers to kind of this yes or no or little as
Yeah.
information as possible. Like they're and you can kind of detect a genuine confusion in them that you don't know more about what he's offered thus far. So yeah, pulling back from that, Leaf, Cyril, I believe you two
Yep.
were first in this whole mess of situation. Matt, are you
Yeah.
ready? Is there anything you're doing before you start taking in?
So what I was going to. Hold on a second.
So popular.
Nope, there we go. Okay, I wasn't muted. It's hard to tell sometimes. So what I was actually going to do is, first of all, I was going to make sure that there was something to at least meet them as they come across the bridge.
Okay.
Whether it's just like, the captain meeting them, or whether I will also be available to be there.
Captain's pretty busy with morning drills and stuff, but if they are pulled away from that and sent to the bridge to kind of meet them out, they will attempt to cross with what militia they have.
Yeah, I'm imagining some of this is just like role playing in my head. I'm imagining some of this is just it has been like kind of crazy the past week, so to speak, with just all the stuff that's been going on,
For
trying
sure.
to figure some of that out. So I imagine like role playing ways that might be why I might not be as on top of things, like
Yeah.
meeting them as from the other side of the bridge. So yeah, do that. And then the other thing that I was going to do was actually I was going to send someone to Alvin to summon him because of the under the pretense of like meeting him for chess, so that I could try to pump him for information.
I was already in the chess hall.
I
What do
don't
you
know
want?
that.
Lady Alcontra
I
doesn't
know.
go out into the town unless she has
Yeah.
like a contingent, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just gonna go hang out in the chapel hall. Okay.
That's what I do.
You send someone out for Elford. Okay. And then anything else besides that before people start showing up?
I actually, in case I do have time to go down the bridge, I would probably send for. Give me a second. I have him here. I'd send for Eldrin just to get my horse
Okay.
prepared, so that if I do have time, I can make it down there quickly,
Okay.
so that I could greet them at the bridge also. But if that's sort of a contingency plan on what happens in between now and approximately when they'll show up.
Okay. Yeah, you have no idea for sure. Okay, perfect. So, real quick side bit. I'm assuming the chess and the conversation for Alvin took place pretty early in the morning. As you're leaving the ship, you see a woman with a kind of dirty brown cloak, brown hair kind of flowing in the port wind, standing there. It looks like underneath the dirty brown cloak, she wears pretty fine looking garb, and she seems to be holding something in her hand, paper or parchment of some sort. As you start to descend, she looks to you and she says, Alvin Elford,
Yes?
I am Naxi, servant of Lady Alcontra. She hands you the note.
I would do a little bow first.
She dismisses
She's beautiful, no?
it. She's attractive enough, but she definitely appears to be a runner.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
she
I'd
ha-
take the note.
she hands you the note. The note seems to be a very formal invitation to the keep of Kasari Yanwi for a game of dragon chess.
Excellent. I was heading there already.
And the runner, nods and seems to move along with you, but not really next to you, more behind you to the side. If you want to talk to her, you can.
How long have you worked for the lady?
Sometime.
She treats you well?
Very fairly.
How have things been in the keep with her absence?
She has not been absent.
She has been absent.
No, she hasn't.
Oh, fuck. I thought you were somewhere else. Never mind.
Nope,
Trying
that's
to
someone else.
Trying to pretend like I know things.
It's okay, you'll get there.
The conversation moves along pretty. She seems
Yeah.
to be very closed and guarded. And what you
Right.
what you recognize very quickly about Naxi, because you're a pretty good person reader and you're observant, is that she appears to be giving you the same calculated read that you are giving her, and you're kind of like, huh. Like she seems to be a bit more than just a runner. She seems to be possibly eyes for the lady.
Cool.
And the more you think about it, the more you're pretty sure you've
Eyes,
seen her running around in the port area as well. So that said,
I'd make her known to this knowledge that I've seen her about.
she nods her head and seems to just take it as a note. That said, Cyril and Leaf, you arrive at the keep first. You are not greeted by anyone in particular. It seems to be a pretty lax day, guard-wise, at the keep. Lady Alcontra, I assume you are awaiting Alvin, so you're probably in like a side room at a table with a fine dragon chess set. And Eldrin is not present to receive you all. So I believe that leaves... Oh my god, who's your third person?
It is Salin?
That's right, or Sela.
Sela, yes.
Yeah, Elf. So Sela would be the one who actually gets the horse ready. He's the stable one. Eldrin is your scribe. Got it.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. I got that mixed up. I thought
okay.
that I have the notes somewhere.
That's fine.
About who is who.
I set the pictures. I set the pictures up to remind myself. So Eldrin will be receiving you, and will take you to Lady Alcontra, Cyril, and Leaf. You're brought in. Go ahead.
Eldrin, I was right. In my notes, it says Eldrin's the stable master and Sayla is the scribe.
Then I need to change their picture so I have it right. So strike that, reverse it. Sayla, and Sayla, every time Eldrin was mentioned last time, was actually the one who brought you in and stuff. Sayla.
Okay, so Sayla is the stable master and...
Oh, do you want it that way?
Or, I'm sorry, I'm just getting confused. I'm going to leave my notes alone.
Okay. Sayla
You're
is
just switching the pictures.
The scribe, and Eldrin is the stable hand. Got it.
Okay.
Tight ship here.
Cool. Okay, so Leaf and Cyril, you enter into the room. She's there, sitting at a dragon test table.
Right. So Cyril is carrying a large parchment. He would say, Lady Alcontra, Master Leaf and I have been doing some research and we wanted to apprise you of our results. And as he's speaking, he unfolds the large parchment on a table.
Do you move? Well, the dragon chess table is the only table in this room.
On the dragon chess table, sure.
Do you move the pieces and then set them on top of the map to hold it down?
If there's time to do so, sure. Why not?
Yeah,
Is that
probably
the appropriate...
probably the easiest way to do it. Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it that way. And he would say that Master Leaf here has helped me with research about possible points of origin for the scrying stone, and then he would look to Leaf to chime in with any potential points of interest.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, Kevin, out of character, did you have the information that John gave me that Leaf gave Cyril? Or no?
I have a whole shitload of about like 10 different cities that we
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Andy
That's
is
right.
trying to pawn off what Leaf knows onto you, Leaf, to tell Lady Alcantara.
I could do that if you want.
Go.
Is it pawning off, John, or is it appropriate to have
No,
Leaf say
no,
what
it's
he
it's
knows?
it's perfectly fine. Yeah, go.
I haven't practiced this French accent for a whole week, so I got to work on it.
I didn't mean a negative connotation. Obviously, the ball's in both of your
Right.
courts. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Since we have the map sitting up on top of the dragon chess table, I can reference that. And then I would, first off, I'm not going to go in order here of that list. So I hope that doesn't throw you, Cyril. So I would say,
No, I think that you should maybe think about more likely places than others.
sure. The first area I'm going to talk about, Lady Alcantara, Split Rock, and I point to the Ballenrath Kingdom. It's kind of, it's like north of the Breaking River. So I don't know if I'll ping that here.
Yeah, I see it. Don't worry. It's
You
that
don't
one
worry?
right there.
Okay.
Can you do that one
Yeah,
more
yeah.
time?
Yes,
Okay.
that one. I'll say, that is a port town of the Ballenrath Kingdom. It is regarded as the gateway to the sea of the heart of the kingdom, and it's at the, as you could see, it is at the mouth of the Breaking River. It runs directly out of the eye of the earth and into the Dragon Seas. And this place I mentioned first because it is the place where they pay their entertainers very well, and I really like this place. So you should know that that is a possibility it came from there. I don't think it is likely though, but you should know about that area.
Why do you think that it might have come from there? Is it simply because they pay their entertainers well and you wish to visit sometime?
Well, oh, you are so you are so intuitive, my lady. But no, it is just that is a port city, and as you know, port cities have a lot of traffic, and it could be anybody. It'd be a great place to, like, if somebody wanted to make it look like it was the Ballenrath Kingdom, but not, they would go there and do it. So next, oh, go ahead.
Okay, so Cyril would jump in for a second and say, just to step back a moment, Lady Alcantara, the map indicates points where the signal might have come from.
Real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it was picked up by you guys, and I didn't say it overtly, but you should note that every single red dot is a port town. Even Red Rock that looks like it's not. It's connected to the White River, which leads out into the northern sea, northern portion of the Dragon Sea. The reason why that's important is because remember you are trying to. There's a bunch of cities in there, but these are the ports that are in the framework. And the reason why it has to be a port is because the beacon was in a boat. So I don't know if that was specifically mentioned, but I thought it would have been picked up. But yeah, that's why those are the ones that are noted, not all the towns in the whole lot.
Okay, I'm just going to mention some other ones I think are likely, and then because I'm not going to go through this huge list of, like I said, like 10 cities. You just throw in any other ones, Cyril, that I didn't mention. And then there is Dog's Head, and Dog's Head is, let me ping it if I can find it. It's right here. Boom. You see that?
Yeah.
My lady, that's a nice enough place. And it sits at the source of the Dogmouth River, and it's one of the nicest cities outside of the Great Alteria, and that I have actually ever seen. Although it is not as populated as some of the small cities that are remnants of the Empire. But anyways, that is a very nice city, and I just have a feeling about that one. And then the next one I would like to point out is the capital of the favored ones. It is called Arandus. The people of the city are diverse, and there's creatures such as fiends and dragons that walk about. And being that it is one of the biggest cities and the capital, I just thought it was one that we should seriously consider. And then Cyril had some other ideas too, didn't you, my friend? Over to you.
So Leaf has been very helpful and with the research. So thank you, Leaf. John, out of character, would a person that uses the scrying stone have to be a powerful mage?
To be able to cast the spell Scry, you'd have to be 10th level or higher. Yeah, so
Would I know which cities have a reputation for being more magic-based cities than others?
Arandis is one of the main magical colleges. Great Alteria's capital has one, but that's on the other side of the map there. Arandis has a magical college. Darkhelm has a very limited magical college and is definitely regarded as of the 4 magical colleges in the area, is regarded as kind of the weakest of the lot. And then the last of the magical colleges is the College of Creation in the Trosdoshan coast, specifically in the kingdom of Korash.
What was the second one besides Arandis that you mentioned? You mentioned one that.
Arandis, Great Alteria's capital.
Right.
Darkhelm.
Is that outside of the area though?
Yeah, Alteria's outside. Darkhelm is technically outside, but could be connected.
Darkhelm's right here.
It's also not a port city.
Darkhelm is a port city.
It does lie on a river. It lies on a river.
Darkhelm sits
Yeah,
on
but
the
it's-
Eye of the Earth, and the Eye of the Earth runs down the breaking river out into the Dragon Sea. The Dragon Sea being all of the water that
Okay.
you can currently see. Except the rivers. The rivers obviously aren't that. And Manigault Bay
Okay.
is named body of water.
So thank you. With that information, Cyril would mention to Lady Alcantra that Arandis and Darkhelm are potential locations because of the magic academies that are there, and he also mentions Leptis as a location that has an affiliation with the Rogue Tier Society. John, just remind me, was it found on a pirate ship?
It was found on a pirate ship. The pirate ship is said to have been from the Mastiff Peninsula, and it is believed that based on the note hasn't been given out, right? Only to Cyril?
Where is the Mastiff Peninsula?
That
This
big
whole
old
big
peninsula
ass
that looks like a
The
dog.
whole. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like a dog.
Oh shit! It does look like a dog.
Yeah, the name of the name of the town at the end means dog's nose in Latin.
Oh.
I'm a
Yeah.
nerd.
You also gave the note to Kevin, so he had that information as well, I believe.
Well,
right?
the note that Lady Alcantra got from Reims, rather.
Oh, I don't see that. I didn't see that yet.
Okay,
Oh, I didn't
that's
see that.
only
So in any
Alcantra known.
case- So Cyril would summarize by saying, in terms of magic, it would be Arandis and Darkhelm. In terms of connections to pirates, Kleptis would be a possibility. Those would be his recommendations that we should somehow investigate.
I'm sorry. Can you say the last part again, Andy? I was looking at.
No problem.
note.
So the locations close to that associated with magic academies would be Arandis and Darkhelm, and that associated with pirates would be Kleptis. So those are 2 different avenues of investigation. Magic, pirates, because the scrying stone was found on a pirate ship. And you might consider talking with Alvin Aylward about this pirate connection.
So regarding those last 3, and Alcantara will glance up at Leaf. How well do they fare in terms of their entertainment?
Well, they're not really noteworthy. Obviously Split Rock is the best. So, plus Split Rock has this great brewery that brews Split Rocks. They're delicious, and they have a college town there for liberal arts. So, it's a great place to play my music and hang out and.
These are all true now.
Wow,
Right
it's
there.
lore. You've made it.
Of course, it sounds reasonable, It's not totally crazy. It's a college of music and liberal arts. So yeah.
Can they get a degree in hacky sack?
Yeah.
You specialize in the Hackasack. So I would like to definitely say, Lady Alcantara, your sage Cyril is a master, and I was lucky enough to get to look in his library and discuss great things with him, which I like to do occasionally to keep my mind fresh and solid for when I need to write lyrics and learn about deep lore. So I just want to say, you have a great person there. You should appreciate it. And I do a great big bow and all that bullshit. Yeah.
If nothing else is to be, any other exchange on that, I'm gonna put the next person in. Halo would be the
Well,
next.
I was going to say one last
Go.
thing in terms of telling Cyril if he can just to look into if he has any means of looking into or connections with either of the colleges through his, because I'm sure with the magic based stuff he might have
Yeah.
some connections elsewhere that he can communicate with.
Yeah, John, out of character, would Imgrind be one of those people?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
then he
that-
would know how to contact her.
Sorry, that was the other school. Graculia has a school as well. That would be she's from that school.
And he'd be able to contact her.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Do you have sending as a spell?
No, I'm second level.
Yeah, not.
I have message.
You know how the spell's supposed to work, and you feel like more study will get you there. But as of current, there's no way for you to communicate with her.
Not even a letter?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, you can send a letter to her, but you don't know where she's at right now. She's currently running around with Asher. You could definitely reach out to your monster hunter and see if Asher's contactable, and if he knows how to get hold of Imgrim that way. That's a way to go. But if there's no other,
do that.
Are you dismissing Cyril and Leaf, or are you keeping them here for now? Dismiss. Or
I'm going to say I'm if Cyril wants to say he can, but besides that, I don't have any more use for.
Well, you have things you want Cyril to do, so Cyril's probably not going to stick around.
Right. Yeah, I figured probably not, but
Okay, you give him the boot, and Halo would be the next one to arrive. Halo, you are directed by Sal to I probably pronounced that wrong then. Saleh to where Lady Alcontra is. She's resetting the chessboard after the pieces were so brusquely maneuvered about, yeah. Muted.
Zach muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Check?
I think it might be coming from your computer though.
Yeah.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
Better.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Easy fix. Oh, my lady, I wasn't expecting to play today. Don't know if I've got that much time.
I'm expecting someone to stop by for a game.
Yes, the retinues on their way back through. The lady who with the sister of the other lady who's super important and was here, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know.
Wonderful. So, see here. I've had some of my students, and it's this super tiny piece of paper that you can't see, because again, tiny fairy who's 1 feet tall, so I'm holding up a piece of paper that's maybe that big with a little drawing.
I thought you could enlarge or shrink
I
things.
just not. So, as you see on this drawing here, several of my students have gotten together and put together this wonderful design that sort of represents the nature tree here. It's got this beautiful glass sort of representation of the emerald, and each of the bark and
Halo?
trees are all individual. Yes.
We've discussed this before. I can't see the paper that size from this distance. My eyes aren't as good as yours.
You take it from me then. And as he hands it over to you and you reach it, that moment he lets go of the paper, it grows to a regular normal humanoid size fucking drawing, so you can see this like elaborate it looks like a big tree almost, and all of the branches are individually like going to be blown into like pieces that are going to be fused together. It's like got little diagrams, pictures, and arrows and shit. So what they'd like to do is sort of revitalize that area out in front of the hall for the workers, um, with your approval, of course.
I think that sounds perfectly fine.
Wonderful, wonderful. Any notes on the design, thoughts, colors, ideas, anything you'd like to add to it?
Um. Well, just as a thought, is there any way to possibly memorialize the people who have worked so hard on this on there at all? Any way to possibly include their names or some symbols of theirs hidden throughout the branches or on the trunk somewhere?
My idea was for each of the students to create one of the branches on the tree, instead of incorporating like a name or something as simple as like an initial. Anyone can carve their initial. This, I want them all to use their imaginations to create their own unique sort of. Do you know what fractals are?
Yes, I'm familiar.
Wonderful. So the way that a light creates a certain sort of fractal image changes based on which lens you're using, how many different reflections are coming, the angle of the light entering that sort of lens, and it sort of creates different sort of radials and structures and images, and each student is going to design their own and then blow that into each individual branch. So as it sort of spirals up this tree, each one will have their unique signature that the students will be able to implement, with pivals being the final structure up on it.
So what you're saying is basically the light itself will be a signature of sorts.
Each student's branch will be their own light, and as the structure sort of swirls up through each student's branch, they should, in theory, I'm hoping with some guidance, we can make it sort of cohesively get more and more complex and sort of spiral up through each student's sort of ideas that create this sort of. It'll work. Just trust me. It'll work.
So, real quick, halfway through the fractal dialogue, Quothus, you kind of stood at the door and are basically just quietly like watching this conversation happening and unfold, and like you heard Halo ask if they know what a fractal is, and you're like, what? But yeah, you're listening to the conversation as it's unfolding.
Not where my area of expertise lies.
Well, in that case, I don't believe I have any suggestions. No, it sounds fantastic.
My only other request was if we could set aside some time to maybe unveil this structure, as well as the new building that we're designing at the temple, for the town to sort of get together. We could do another dinner and sort of on an unveiling ceremony. I'd love to get that.
Certainly. Why don't you come up with some dates and let me know?
Fantastic. So glad you're on board for this. Now, with the you returning this evening, will you be needing me to be here in the keep, or should I be flying back to the temple? What would Milady like for the little fairy to do today?
Your presence would be appreciated, but if you have other matters to which you need to attend, then I completely understand.
Do you know when they'll be arriving?
Do I know when they'll be arriving, John?
You don't. You know they're arriving today. Today is the anticipated arrival date, but they never stated when they would arrive. Your presumption is either if they set off from Nadrasi, it'll be about midday because it takes about half a day to travel across the bridge. If they left from the other side on the Adamant Isles, it'll be closer to mid-afternoon, evening time.
Gotcha. I'm not entirely certain, but no earlier than midday and no later than probably getting on towards evening. So, unfortunately, I do not have a distinct time as I
Fine,
don't
that's
know where
fine.
they're leaving
Need
from.
plenty of time to run back to the temple and inform Pievel of the information, and then I'll fly back. It's perfectly wonderful. And I believe you've got another guest here, if you would excuse me. And he's already like halfway out the door.
Do you want the pic? I'm just like holding the paper, like.
Got plenty. I've drawn like 14 of them this fucking morning. You'll be fine.
Caffeine and radiance.
Yeah, Kothis would probably like give Halo a hello as Halo's leaving.
Quick courteous nod.
And he, shoot, I forget what I'm supposed to call. Milady, so, not to take up much of your time, but, had a concern with what was happening. I had my hunters just keep an eye out for while they're on the job, for any of this pirate action. Not much has turned up, just side note, you know, the Merchant King, fella who runs the docks, has been asking for hunters, in addition to some monsters, but also pirates seem to be at that, so I don't know. Nothing, they haven't showed up yet, nothing really to report, but also, I guess the last thing, and again, this is quick, but I never heard from you, but did you want some of our hunters to go out to be part of the welcoming party for, the lady who's due to come back today?
Yes, that sounds perfectly fine if you want to be there. I was planning on hopefully getting down there, but we shall necessarily see if I'm able to get away from affairs of state, so to speak.
I mean, if you really wanted, I
Affairs of town. Is there a colloquialism for that?
Whatever you want to call it, you're the boss.
I'm going with affairs of state because that's just a phrase I know.
The
so-
real quick, just side summary. Bear with me here. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that time chronologically is falling into place. Alvin, you arrive at the keep. You are met by an individual named Sahel, who is an elf, robe, kind of hood back, very common, just typical clothing. Looks like they have kind of ink stains on their fingertips, stuff that most people would overlook, but they appear to be kind of like effectively scribe slash kind of person who deals with matters of state. Sees you, moves to you, and addresses you. You are familiar with them enough, and they explain that they'll have you wait here as they go and make sure Lady Alcantara knows that you are here, and basically you know that the next step would be wherever she wants you, you'll be taken to. So, as Bulair, you're finishing with your dialogue and kind of coming towards that end, you do see that Sahel kind of comes into the door and stands basically where you were standing and waiting before.
Well, I see you got some other visitors, so I guess how many men do you want to send out? Just let me know, I'll get it done.
I'd imagine just sending out a few. We already have some currently out from the guard, so.
Alright, I'll gather my men and get them ready.
Lady Gelche, your requested meeting is here. Would you like me to have him come and meet with you here in the study, or would you like to meet him in the throne room?
You can bring him in here.
Of course. I will return with him in a moment. Alvin, you're standing there waiting in basically the hall. Individual comes back out, Sahel, and says, "A lady will receive you in the study for the game."
Thank you, Sahel.
The two of you walk down the halls of the kind of woody walled area. Basically, you're inside of a big tree, and you head into the study room, which is actually more of kind of like a dwarvish kind of stone structured room, bookshelves, I'm assuming, and a dragon chess table in the center. And Sahel leaves you with.
How is it lit?
I would.
Go ahead.
Most of the palace is lit with open windows. Even the dwarven areas, we tried to basically. I imagine it wasn't me. I'd imagine my father basically tried to like widen the windows in the area while still trying to retain basically the dwarven architecture as much as possible. Presumably, he actually did hire some dwarves. Just the elves prefer larger windows than dwarves typically do. So the whole place, in fact, is generally lit with as much natural light as possible, and all of the windows also basically like have a panel above them that can slide down basically if like it starts raining or something, so the entire inside doesn't get soaked.
Yeah, and I'm assuming like the way the growth of the tree portion kind of came up and over, so there might be like portions of roots and like then window spaces for skylighting that you're kind of set inside. Because I'm assuming the study's kind of like on the outside of the tree. But yeah, natural
It's
lighting.
pretty cool.
Um,
It's pretty fucking cool.
and then also magical lighting from the prism as well within the inner portions of the keep. So just kind of light spells that have kind of been ignited by the prism permanently.
Yeah, and there are prism like spots in the more like natural light areas, but they are more for like, again, if there's a storm or at night. During the day, it's typically we try to just keep it naturally lit inside.
I would bow. Hail, my lady.
Good day. Please sit.
I would have a seat. I returned these books. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I appreciate you
Oh.
lending them to me.
It's no trouble at all. And unfortunately, things have just been quite busy recently. You know how running a town can be strenuous. I'm sure you understand running a business.
Yes. Always something new. Something exciting, I suppose. Always things of trouble. Pirates. For one.
Well, that is actually part of, and I'll like right now, I'm just sort of like putting the books onto a shelf while I'm doing this, and then returning. I have set it up so that you do have like the first move, and also, John, I'm going to say right now, ahead of time, I'm going to be somewhat focusing on the game, but it's more of a ploy to get him here, so I'm not
Which leads me to my next
trying to win as much right now.
which leads me to my next portion of this segment, and you guys will role play amongst yourselves. But I want a baseline structure so you can role play off of how the game is going as well. I want you, Dan, to roll Dragon Chess with intelligence, and since you are not playing the game for winning, you're playing the game for intrigue. A Dragon Chess roll with charisma.
Very exciting.
You're not trying to play the game to win. You're trying to play the game for length and for excitement.
Wow.
All right, let's see if I can.
It's a big roll. Second big roll, Jan.
Dan is just
My goodness.
apparently what you need to do is spend a long time. Okay, so real quick on a side note, Dan, the structure of this interaction, and again, role play it however you want, but the structure of this interaction is very similar to what you were going through, but to a lesser degree. The guy you were playing at the chess hall was like a master. Lady Alcontra knows how to play and is pretty strategic minded, but is nowhere near on the tier that you and the others are. So what you start to
That makes
realize is in the early portion, it seems that Lady Alcontra is playing the game for length and duration and trying to play towards exciting moves. So you have the opportunity to destroy her in a few moves,
No, I enjoy company.
allow her to like see strategies that she wasn't expecting and play into them for excitement, but then aha, gotcha. Or higher tier, kind of just play the game for length and let it slide.
I want to enjoy the game.
Okay. So a fun game to be had by the two of you. That said, role play away. Imagine that during the course of this, pieces are being moved.
Right.
I spoke with Captain Reams regarding the pirate issue, and like the other merchants, he seems to be only selfish. Doesn't seem to understand the gain that we could all benefit by dealing with this local nuisance.
Yes, well, unfortunately, people don't necessarily always take games as serious. Sometimes they just simply see their opportunities and take them.
A strong defense is always important.
True, but one must also be willing to take risks.
I dig this. Both of you gain inspiration now. Just gain it.
What is your read on Captain Reeves, anyway? You might
Selfish.
have a better idea.
Crew is lazy. He doesn't seem to have much initiative. What other merchant lord or merchants captains do we have around? I understand we also have perhaps more militia or soldiers on the seas, correct?
Not as yet, but we shall see to that soon. There are a few others. There was one, Maddox Corbin, who also came with Captain Reems, so I know much less of him, but I imagine he was just passing through.
Was that spelled correctly?
Correct. And you would know Maddox left 6 days ago, and was heading towards Great Alteria, the empire to the west.
Okay. Is that over there in kind of like that alcove?
It's this is the city, the capital of Great Alteria.
Okay.
It's not pinging. Hold on. That's a
I see.
ticket. Yeah.
What do I know of Maddox, other than his current?
He, he's a merchant captain. Yeah, he's quick. He keeps his crew lean, and he doesn't take on more hands than he needs. He he's a relatively mercantile individual, though, and he definitely would not side along with Reams, to be sure, or any of the other merchant captains you know that have come through Kazarianwi. Comparatively, his route is pretty routine in comparison to others who kind of take the job that they need. He has
Right.
a pretty solid route between Great Alteria and Osnabel, and basically he travels up the northern cape of the Rended Island and down through Osnabel with a stop in Kasari Yanwe if needed.
Okay. Has he had issues with pirates?
Again, yeah, he was one of the ones who basically said they were going to voice their opinion to Lady Alcantara. So you would
So
know,
he would be an ally.
yeah, you would know he, Reams, and one other captain who both of you are kind of failing to remember the name of, was basically overshadowed by the other two personalities. This small contingent of three captains basically said to you, Alvin, at some point, we're going to go talk to Lady Alcantara. We are having problems. Left you and spoke to her, and really didn't give you much ground to kind of pursue it. And no one else seems to be reporting any other problems. It seems to be these three loud local voices, or loud vocal voices, that are talking about pirates in and around the Andraste.
Lady Alcantara, how many ships do we have to deal with these pirates?
You're trying to pull Hakdar's counter gambit on me right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Um,
You've learned well. Have you been
well,
studying?
Every once in a while I find a book. It's useful to keep up with those things. As for ships, we have a few. Unfortunately, we need to keep some around for our own defenses, so
Of course.
the amount that I can spare is not as much as I would desire.
We could unite these merchants for a common good. Perhaps we could give them a alleviation on their stipends. Maybe.
Would an alleviation be enough, or would they...
Something to encourage them to work together. Maybe breaks on taxes. For a time. Until the pirates are dealt with.
That could perhaps work.
With the coffers, I'm sure they would be fine. But I don't know matters of your business. He smiles meekly.
Yeah, I know, Tim. I know.
I don't need to comment.
I know, but it's fun to comment. I'd have to check in with the magnate and see how things are going in that sense. But if it is possible, it might be worthwhile. Of course, only tax breaks for those who are willing to work together or keep each other's backs. Consider it almost a payment without payment.
Good sense.
So, real quick, for dramatic effect, you realize the gambit that he was pushing you through, and then are not really seeing, but there is another tactic being unfolded, which is leading to an end game in Alvin's mind, which he knows is Cardiff's Twist, which is basically a removal of your attrition forces and recurrence against what you're basically trying to do in stopping his gambit. But as it's about to be deployed, as the game is about to terminate, the door, a guest enters in. It does appear to be Sahil again. And he says, "Milady, you are needed urgently in the throne room."
We'll reconvene at another time.
It sounds good. I imagine that you've memorized the board already anyway. And I get up to walk out.
As you get close to Sahil, he says to you in a whisper, but not quiet enough for Alvin not to overhear.
Can I see his lips?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to be referencing. You do note that the retainer, Saleh,
Salah.
Salel.
I'm bad at this name.
Salalala ding dong.
I miss Eldrin. But can Sal? Oh gosh, Sal says to you as you move up, Valesha has already returned with Lady Aristotle there in the throne room. They were instructed to ride out with, or send out a rider to lead ahead of them, but Lady Aristotle and her company were on horseback and demanded that Valesha take the runner's horse. Your militia are still heading back across the Nadrasi, but the captain and the retinue of Lady Aristotle, what has returned, are present. And as he's saying this, you can kind of see up ahead into the main hall. If you're kind of getting up, Alvin, and heading out, the only direction you can go is the same direction they're going, out through the hall, but you can kind of circumnavigate it and watch from a distance as whatever's unfolding unfolds.
That's what I. Yeah. Yes, please.
But you see that Lady Aristotle and only 3 of her retinue are present, and Lady Valesha, who seems to be very tired looking and out of breath and kind of huffing a bit as they stand there in the room. Shale and the 3 individuals who you would recognize as 3 of her Twilight Knights are just calm. Those 4 are like stoic.
Lady Aristotle, you have arrived earlier than I expected you would. I hope that all went well.
It did not.
I sort of figured that, seeing as you got back so early.
We were misled. When we spoke to the King of Darkhelm, we were informed that our presence there was per his request, but only to deliver a message to the Ellenshay Enclave's council. It is the intent of Darkhelm to block its borders on the opposite side of the Nadrasi Bridge, and in short order, it is also their intent to take the Isle of Nadrasi. You're muted. Oh, you're not. Okay.
So you just cut. No, you just cut out for me. I didn't.
Did anybody else hear me?
I heard
Yeah.
you.
I did.
Okay, one more time then.
Yeah,
Over
it-
to
Heard ya.
I think it was just on my end. My Discord.
Where did I
froze for a
where did I cut off?
second. I got the part about a message and them cutting off.
It is their
Yeah.
intent to fortify the western coast of the Adamant Isle, and then take the Nadrasi Island. We were able to send most of my contingent to the town of Split Rock. It is our intent, at least it is my intent, to have my captain there hold position and also serve as a centering point for the council as well. If we intend to reciprocate, if we intend to deal, we can very quickly arrive at that location with magical means. Lady Aristotle kind of looks over her shoulder, and Alvin, you feel like you were kind of far enough away, and you can see them talking and can read their lips. But she turns and looks at you, and then looks back to you, Lady Alcantara, and says, "I hope all who are within earshot, or who are witnessing this, are loyal to you."
Oh, don't worry. I'm pretty sure that he knows if he speaks anything, his tongue will fit.
Nothing will what?
Be forfeit.
Oh, okay.
Again, you can't hear them, but you can definitely see them talking about you. She turns back to Lady Alcantara and nods her head politely, and then continues speaking. My Twilight Knights and my Furies should be able to hold Split Rock, at being only a town of some 4,000 or so individuals, and probably only a couple of hundred fighting hands. And I have no doubt in my mind that they could deal with hundreds of dwarves if need be. That said, I feel like it will be my intent to return back to Kasari Yanwi, and make this a strong point position. The Nadrasi Bridge is an important position for us, trade-wise, but the opposite side of the bridge is no longer trading. I would rather have the Isle of Nadrasi held by us than held by our opponents.
Well, I also would rather it be held by us, as some of our income does depend upon there, and I'm certain that at least parts of our town would get rather bored without it around.
You speak of the Magnate and the Monster Hunters Guild?
Yes, it is part of our economy, and it is a necessary part too.
What does he know of the locals on the island?
He knows some. The locals, some were originally from here, and let's say they did not leave on the greatest terms, and our good Master Quothus has some personal matters to deal with certain of them.
Fair. I will leave you with a task. Treat this as ordained by the council itself. Your responsibility, moving forward, to be handled within the next 6 days, is to reach out to the locals of Nadrasi and see if they are willing to aid the Enclave in maintaining the island's current status. If they are not, use your militia to destroy them, and hold the isle yourself.
Hey Tim, I have a job for you.
I have one matter before I must ride on. We will make it to Osnobble and then up the Talvi River in short order, as quick as possible, but I must speak with your attendant, your advisor. I believe his name
Cyril?
is... That's right. He is within his tower, I presume?
Yes, do you want me to send for him, or do you wish to go there yourself?
I will go myself. If it's your pleasure to follow, you may, but I assure you the conversation may be well over your head.
You'd be surprised at what isn't over my head.
Despite that sounding like it was like an insult, you kind of like take it at first as that and respond as you did, but but then you think about what she said, and then you kind of go, like, she might be referring to something more magically minded.
Yeah.
She didn't. It sounds like her tone, even though mine, I sound like a complete jerk. It sounded like she was trying to come off as honest and not dickish.
Yeah. I mean, I was intending on going with her, at least if nothing else, to
Okay.
show her to the tower as a politeness.
Yep. So if you lead her there, her Twilight Knights do not accompany her, and you see that they stay with Valesha, and they seem to be moving about. Valesha moves to you quickly before you leave and says, "Milady, on the way here," and you see Aristotle kind of turn and look at her. Not until we're gone. Explain to her when we are done. Valesha kind of lowers her head and then kind of looks to you for a second.
I will come for you.
She nods. The two of you leave and head towards Cyril's tower. You are greeted by Alberic, red-haired elf, a red-haired half-elf who sees you enter, sees you to Cyril's room, where he is currently.
He is studying. He's outside. There are notes on open, and you see in front of him the box, the adamantine box, and drawings of the box, and drawings of the creature in the box, sort of laid out on his table.
Lady Aristotle and Lady Gelshay enter into the room. Lady Aristotle takes and wastes no time. So I see you've done some study of the creature.
Yes, at some cost of pain.
Apologies. I will have you know that it appears that this is a unique occurrence from what I was able to discern in Darkhelm. I'm going to be open with you, Master Cyril. Not something that I typically do. So understand the information I'm about to beseech upon you is a boon. And then I will ask you for every single note that you have on the creature in the case, which I will be taking with me. Every single note. Do you understand?
So Cyril would say, "Yes, milady."
Very good. The Schism are a collective of entities that reside deep within the eye of the earth, beneath the city of Darkhelm. Originally, they were seen as nothing more than a pest to the dwarves of Ballenroth, but as they delved deeper, they began to understand more of its nature. After being so quickly defeated by the Enclave in our early interactions, they came to understand that we were a very magical-minded people, and they asked us for information regarding the schism. She kind of looks over her shoulder to Elcontra and then looks back to you. I must be completely certain that you will forfeit every single note that you have regarding these entities once I've told you what I am going to tell you. Swear upon it.
So Cyril would swear. He would also take out the knife that Kothas gave him, and the notes about the mature creature. Like the that would be part.
On Nadrasi, she says.
Tim, that's right. It was on Nadrasi, wasn't it?
It was. Yes. Yeah, they're fighting. They're hunting blue wyverns, and they ran into that on their way to fight the blue wyverns.
Yeah. So he would have an image of that, trying to make sense of its maturation.
She nods her head. Interesting. And to my point, the schism are segments, remnants of the Song of Creation. They are dead notes. When the world was one, and all reigned under Kashea Thea and the One Wood, these pieces segmented away from it. Most of them have gathered under the eye of the earth, but others exist all throughout the Dragon Isles and perhaps beyond. When they, like the trees, are allowed to reconnect, they grant the strength, knowledge, power, and essence of one another to those that they are in contact with. The one you had seems to have been segmented further away from it. Based on what I was able to glean from the Dark Helms, they have tried binding these creatures in adamantine cases. However, to their misfortune, the others come for them. They seem to be, even though they are locked away beyond magical barrier, or an anti-magical barrier such as adamantine, they are still able to be detected by others. I don't know if that stands true of them being deceased or not, but I will have you return it to its case, and I'll be taking it with me. But the schism represents something deeply seated to our people. They are... It is believed that the God's Eye, or sorry, not the God's Eye. That's a totally different thing. That's Game of Thrones. The Eye of the Earth doesn't happen to be the strongest population of schism in the Dragon Islands.
So you mean by that there's more schism in some place other than in
Yeah.
Darkhelm?
Correct.
And they have a hive mind of sorts.
Correct.
Are you taking notes on this?
I'm
In
not.
front of
I'm taking notes, but I don't think that Cyril is. He's taking mental notes.
Mental notes.
So, real quick before I give you the opportunity to roll for it, is there anywhere that's standing out to you that might be a location where these entities might be present?
Can I say? Or
I
just
was
him?
thinking of the wilds.
Go ahead.
The Nordassi Isle, or that island there, the Nordassi Isle.
No.
I was gonna say the island down there that's surrounded by storms that people can't go to and they die.
Oh yeah, that's
and we're
true.
on guard
The
up
Storm
from
Heart.
defeat things that come from there. I forget the exact name. And I
It-
don't have the.
If Cyril does manage to utter the
The
word,
Storm Heart, yeah.
the Storm Heart, you see Aristotle kind of nod and then walk over and just place her hand on your papers and start putting them into her pack. She puts the body into the case, seals it, and puts it into her pack. She seems to be taking every piece of information that you have and then looks at you dead in your eyes and says, "Is this all of it?" And out of character, "It can be or it can't be. Either way, that's up to you." But out of character, if it comes up that it isn't, out of character,
She'll be in trouble.
no, she won't automatically know. It'll just be something that will be notated. It just, you decide if you're giving it all to her or if you're keeping some
I mean,
back.
at this point, he hasn't kept notes in separate places. He hasn't asked in advance for Arave or Bernard to copy the notes into other places. So this is where it is. He's been working feverishly on this for the past week. So no, this is it.
She takes it all. She puts it into her bag, and she looks at you. This is a deep-seated secret. You understand the implications, correct?
I'm not sure I understand them as well as you do.
I mean to say, if it's the case that people know that Kasheathea, the goddess of the One Wood, is the source of these blightful creatures, and they're allowed to spread, obviously blame would fall to the Enclave. She stops and she turns and she walks over to um, uh, Lady Alcontra. And you see her begin casting a spell pretty quickly, um, from what you can see. Do you attempt to stop her in any way, either of you?
I mean, at this point, Cyril's actions have really been to kind of give way to someone who clearly seems to know more about this than he does. So no.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this.
Are you trying to halt her in any way?
I would probably put my hand up and, stop if you're worried about me spreading anything.
Make a wisdom
I
saving
don't
throw.
You dead.
No, I'm not going to be
Okay.
You don't know that.
18.
Yeah, it's really good. So the spell seems to take hold of your mind for a second, and then you finish uttering your sentence. You don't know what the spell was, but it feels like some sort of mind-related spell.
Oh, no, I know what the spell was.
You're a smart
Oh,
boy.
they modified the memory.
Well, she
Fudge.
wanted to.
She looks at you, like in your eyes. She doesn't seem to be. There's no emotional shift. It seems that she just kind of dead ass, kind of cold eyed, looks at you, and you were saying.
Right, so I was saying, you don't have to worry about me. I shan't spread anything around.
Your ability to resist this spell shows that your Fey blood is very powerful. She nods her head. I will accept your statement as a promise. She looks back to Cyril. If word gets out that you are spreading any information about the schism and anyone else is set to know about this, I will return. I will also be sending forward a representative of the council to serve in Valesha's stead as your captain. You will need more potent individuals to rule in that regard. I will also be sending forward troops. Twilight Knights will be taking their positions here in Kasari Yanwi. They will not serve at your pleasure, but they will serve at your command if conflicts arise. Do you understand?
Completely.
Looks back to Cyril. Just kind of gives him a look. And then turns back towards the door. I must be heading on to Grakulia. I wish you the best. And may the goddess's light shine on you throughout the 4 seasons.
And also on you.
She heads out. You immediately take a second and kind of brainstorm for a second. Cyril, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Yeah, what I want to know is what level, what power she would be to be able to cast that spell.
That's why the Arcana check.
It's really shitty.
You don't know what the spell was. To you, it kind of has very similar denotations to the spell Charms Person, which seems strange in this situation. Out of character, you both know that it was probably some attempt to basically persuade Lady Alcontra to not talk, magically persuade her, enchant her, effectively. But, yeah. Which seems a bit not cool. Yeah.
No, it's not cool.
Seems not cool, and now she's sending in forces to pretty much occupy. Really?
Yeah.
What?
I was going to say, part of me is not necessarily surprised. Like, part of my character, like Alcantara, is not necessarily surprised. She expects this sort of treatment based off of appearances.
Will they be
Oh, really?
occupying Wall Street?
Well,
I mean, there were just downright threats going on there, so
You
too.
use
So
inspiration for that, Kim.
yeah. It feel It feels
Wait, lose or gain?
neither. It feels net negative, net positive. It feels like the out of character note, just real quick. It feels like, from what you understand of the War Queen and what you know about Shale Aristotle, it seems that their family is very direct, and that's probably why the War Queen was selected for her role in the past. So again, it definitely feels very aggressive compared to what you expect out of typical elves. But the reason why she was probably sent as the ambassador to the Adamant Isle is probably because of that specific quality.
She's more an enforcer than an ambassador.
Correct.
Um, we can cover this later, but Cyril is thinking about the connection between the goddess of the wood and the schism creatures as sort of coming from that, and he would want to do some sort of research about that connection.
Yeah, there's nothing to learn. There's no notes that you have beyond what you've kind of gathered, and the books that you had, she just put in her bag. So, schism lore is not going to be something you're going to be able to research any longer.
Well, here's a question: Did you also give them your journal too, or your dad's journal? Because that had notes in it too.
No, it would just be whatever notes I took about, like I had notes about the box and the creature in the box, and about Quothus's description of the drone creature as well.
Let's cover this real quick so we don't have any arguments about it in the future. I want to make sure we have it right. So the notes on the creature itself, everything that was present on the table, would not have included your predecessor's notes, would not have included your books regarding the matters, or connections rather therein. Those would be separate.
I
Or would,
mean,
would they have been present?
what do you mean books regarding the matter? What books are there regarding the matter?
Remember, you did find lore to kind of like help you kind of come to the solutions you came to. Remember, and you had also noted that someone else had been through those books already.
Right, right.
Those books, did you pull them out and set them into your study, or did you return them to their shelves over the course of the 7 days? Again, 7 days is a drop in the bucket to an elf.
Right. I mean, they probably would have been back on the shelves, but what would have been in front of me was the notes I was taking on the creature itself.
So none of the journals of your predecessors, nor the books that you've kind of come to help push that lore. The only thing that's on the table is regarding the specimen in question, correct?
Yep, I think so. That sounds right.
Fair enough. Out of
Probably making a bad decision, but this is what I'm doing.
Out of character note, that the divide, the two choice system of the Mass Effect style thing has been met. We know which road you're going down. Okay, got it. So the journals haven't been taken.
Okay.
Whoops.
Womp womp. Also, just as a quick note, probably when I head out, I'm going to send messengers to both Halo and Quothus. The one to Halo, just sort of explaining that Lady Aristotle needed to move quickly. If you have business at the temple, then you are not needed at the palace anymore. And then the one to Quothus, basically saying if he was going to send people to meet, or if he hadn't already sent people to meet her, not a big deal. And then also at some point, within the next day, I need to speak to him of other matters.
Okay.
John, I would want to lock up those books out of my out of the regular library so that people can't just get to them anymore.
Okay.
Those specific books.
Make a Arcana check. You're a sage, right? Background?
I'm a sage.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you'll have advantage for this check.
Okay, let's see if I can roll better than a 2. 26.
With Arave's assistance, the two of you are able to not only grab those books, but every book that's referenced by those books. and pull them all categorically, even if it, because again, reference books aren't typically something that matters to like the lore in question, but to be certain, anything that touches those books in the chain is pulled and placed in your locked setup, along with the journals of your predecessors.
Great, and I would ask Arave to find some filler books to fill in some spaces where the books have
You would
been
have
taken
noted
away.
she's already rearranged it to look tidy.
Cool. Just because we don't want anybody coming in seeing that they're gone.
She seems to be picking up on what's going on.
Yeah, she's a smart cookie.
Yeah, so you're pretty sure that. Did you mention it to Lady Alcantara that the journals were kept, right? So she's a part of the conspiracy, and so is
I was
Arabic.
leaving right afterwards, so unless you grabbed me
You
and
don't
said
want to
something-
know.
Okay, then
So I'm not necessarily saying it.
pleading ignorance is the best bet. So Alcantara wasn't informed. Arave and you are the two members of the conspiracy. Got it.
It's going to be so tragic when Hervé betrays you.
This
Yeah, I guess I didn't
Wait,
think of it
doesn't
as.
he have a betrayal left?
I was hoping no one would remember. So that when it happened, you could all be like, shit. Shit. But yeah.
Womp womp.
Anywho, that said, that's happening. Halo returns back to the place, and then kind of gets informed sidelong that it seems that Aristotle has already moved through the keep. So you can elect to go and see what has happened, or you can wait for the message to arrive to you.
She has already moved through to the keep, so I'm gonna run toward try and catch her at the keep.
Yeah, you would have
And
missed
I'm
her.
assuming I'm gonna get to the keep, and she's gonna be already at the tower with them, so I'm gonna run to the tower.
I would say before you start to move, though, you would note that there is a few people who have lingered behind. One of which happens to be Alvin Elford.
Oh, where is he lingering? You mean
At the
At
keep.
the
Yeah, so he would have been basically as Aristotle was leaving, he was kind of waiting for them to all migrate and then kind of dip out instead of leaving early and not getting everything, or leaving at the same time and being looked at as weird.
Okay, so Alvin would probably be the only person that I recognize here.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, would me recognizing Alvin here put the chess game 2 and 2 together that Lady Alcantara was setting up? Would
Yeah.
I know enough about Alvin to be like, oh, that makes okay. So then, yeah, I'm gonna fly over to him and be like, and how'd the game go, sir?
Got him while he's chewing.
I know, right? Fuck him. By all means.
Sorry.
Ready.
It was great, just too short.
Too short. I thought she was getting better.
She is. She's been reading quite a bit, I believe. She's tried a couple new strategies. I can't remember the fuck. Some gambit. Can't remember what she said.
Honestly, you could have put 3 fucking letters together and said them out loud.
Nim's gambit. I don't know.
Never played a game of Dragon Chess in my life, to be completely honest with you, sir. So, did you happen to pass the Aristotle and the rest of the elves from the Dwarf Kingdom yet?
I did in passing. They looked quite disturbed. They had a lot on their hearts, it looked like.
Truly not good thing. Did you happen to hear anything or catch anything with that keen eye of yours?
No.
As he's about to address the no, the two of you kind of are like turning your eyes to see Valesha, the captain of the watch, with 3 of the Twilight Knights walking out of the keep as well. It seems that they headed to a different part of the keep when they all defected away from it, and they appear to be heading somewhere. You know Valesha well enough, Halo, the captain of the watch, and the same would be true of you as well. She polices your district on the ports, so she's a
Have you any
half dwarf, half elf. Awesome. She's cool.
Have you any idea why they might have brought such grim tidings? I would say the air in the keep changed quite rapidly when they entered.
It was a difficult conversation they were heading to the door file to have. I can't imagine that conversation went well. Based on the amount of Twilight guards that are moving around this area rather quickly, I'm assuming we're going to war. Doesn't that sound like fun?
It's not good for business.
No, not being on the fucking coast like we are. It's gonna be so bad. Oh,
I love your character.
Halo's great. And out of character, just in case you didn't pick it up, Halo is the master of the temple, the spiritual guide of the town. You're
And
effectively
I thought it was a druid at first.
Prism.
I'm playing a Prism class, yeah.
You sure it's not a druid?
Yeah.
Close. It went smaller. So,
Much, much smaller.
I like it.
yeah. So, are they still in the keep, or did the lady? Did they see them off?
Did I see him leave? Once I kind of got
Yes.
once I kind of gleaned that they knew that I was listening. I
Alcantara,
wasn't bold enough.
Alcantara and Shale left together. It seemed like they were, according to what you recall, were heading towards the tower of the advisor, Cyril's tower. And then Valesha and the 3 Twilight Knights that arrived with Lady Aristotle, Shale Aristotle, splintered off to the side. You presume they had left as well, but it seems that they're now coming out of the keep and are basically passing you by, heading into the town proper. The presumption based on their movement is, for you all, is that they're heading towards the, basically the militia barracks to go and presumably do something there.
So Halo, do you think that we're being occupied currently? I look around at the Twilight Knights.
You can definitely note that one of them overhears you, since everyone's an elf.
I make no.
Yeah,
I don't.
and they turn and kind of look
Pretty
at you.
obvious.
Valesha kind of moves over to you and sees that Halo's there as well. I wasn't instructed to do it. The Twilight Knights kind of look to her, kind of not menacingly, just observantly, but sternly so. And she says, I wasn't instructed to do it, but it is my duty as captain of the guard to inform you two noted individuals of the town. If you need to inform others, there will be more movement of Twilight Knights in the town in the near future. Just make sure that your people understand that there is nothing to be concerned about, and that Lady Alcantara will be in charge of putting forward any edicts regarding the presence of the forces that will be present. The Twilight Knight, who appears to be the leader of the 3, says, "That's enough. Let's go. We have to move quickly."
I'd love to ask you some questions, sir, if you've got a moment.
He turns and kind of looks at you sternly.
So, more Twilight Knights are coming to the town. Where will they be housed?
I apologize. That is a matter that will be addressed with your lady. As of right now, we have pressing matters to deal with, and not much time to deal with them. We plan on leaving the town within the hour.
Perhaps you'd like some help with those pressing matters. I'd love to accompany you.
We won't stop you. And they turned and kind of look to Valesha, who kind of gives you a look like, who kind of turns and heads off with the Twilight Knights.
Well, I'm heading off, my friend. If you have other things to do, by all means, but if you'd like to have some fun.
I'd like to join you. I, for one, want to know what's going on a little bit more. I know when I'm told to not worry, one should probably worry a little bit.
The same knight kind of looks over his shoulder at Alvin, sternly, but yeah. Roll a d100.
It will determine how many black and blue marks you get for the
Ju-
meeting.
Just what you needed, right on the nose. So as you're walking, he turns and looks over his shoulder at you, and then slams right into one of the light posts.
He slams into a post.
Yeah. He's like looking at you like sternly, trying to be menacing, and then hits one of the light posts, where the prism lights are, just bashes into it and kind of like moves to the side. You see Fletcher go, huh! Oh. And continue on. And the Twilight Knight kind of,
bursts out laughing.
the Twilight Knight kind of brushes his shoulder and annoyed kind of heads
You should
off.
watch where you're going.
Yeah. Kind of agrees and continues on. Valesha and the three Twilight Knights arrive.
Try not to damage any more property while you're here.
Again, just angrily, kind of broodingly. The other two knights are smiling. The
Did
group.
Dan Young's character take vicious mockery?
The group arrive at the barracks. The Twilight Knights look to Valesha and say, "This is sufficient, and this is where we'll be setting up for the moment." Looks over to Halo and to Alvin, and then kind of moves to the center of the barracks room. You see him pull out a piece of paper, open it up, and then place it down onto the ground. You see as it touches the ground, there's a massive glyph, like a circular glyph on it, with a bunch of just arcane, elvish and draconic markings kind of intertwined, and a bunch of like intertwining Gaelic knot style kind of artistic flourishes all throughout this circular glyph in the center of the paper. As he sets it down, you see the paper start to burn from the outside in with a little bit of green fire until nothing remains besides the circle, which then grows to 3 times its size and basically burns itself into the ground. And then once that's done, the Twilight Knights look to Valesha and say, "Make sure no one touches it for an hour. We will be on our way. Guard it with your life." Turns to look to Halo and look to Alvin. "If you have any questions for us, make them quick. We will be on our way." And this is a different knight besides the stern one. The stern one, as this knight says that, kind of annoyedly.
A portal?
So
Correct.
is this one
Halo just
Shep
fuck the police and knocks
or
over the
Larry?
portal. What are we doing?
This is a teleportation circle. A year's worth of time has been imbued inside of the paper, and it has been permanently made here. The council will be connecting us to this point. The teleportation circle within the tower of your advisor would not suffice. This position will do. Any other questions? I
When
understand.
can we visit?
Anytime you'd like. The gateway will be free for anyone who is deemed necessary travel by your Lady Alcontra. We will be moving here in short order once we arrive on the other side of the gate.
How many forces do you intend to bring into our wonderful town?
I
I wish
unfortunately,
to know
I am,
for our security.
I unfortunately am not at liberty to discuss that matter, as discussing the matter would denote why that is happening, and it is not at my leisure to speak about that matter. Lady Alcontra will inform the populace of her town regarding that matter. We must be going, though. Any other
Who
questions?
else will have access to the circle?
The council's armies, Lady Alcontra, once she is informed of its presence by, looks to Valesha.
Informed of its presence? You mean she doesn't know that this was done?
Correct.
I assume the lady has little to do with what is going on here. I say as I leave.
Correct and yet incorrect, he says in response to you, but not really to elicit something, just as kind of a matter of fact. Looks to Halo. they turn and they head out. Valencia looks to you and says, "The dwarves are taking over the entire west coast of the Adamant Isle and are planning on moving on the island of Nadrasi."
All right, that's it. She's fired.
She was fired already. She's lost her job. She knows she's lost her job. The fuck she got to lose?
She,
Fuck the police.
she looks at you and she says, I'm very worried. I am, this isn't good, Halo. This isn't good at all.
Take care of yourself.
I have to watch this sign. Please don't tell anybody I told you anything. She kind of looks at you. I'm in enough trouble as it is with everything that happened before, and
As before this day, as
Did I hear that?
future day.
no, you left.
Yeah, you walked out, dude.
This would have been way
Safe with me.
yeah. This would have been way after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious if it was while I was leaving, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's fine. Cause I was gonna tell.
You could have stuck. You could have stuck around, but you chose not to. All right.
I was gonna be a snitch.
Cyril. Dun. Leaf. You again are pretty much right there in the middle of the town. Like that's where you live, and you probably after Cyril and that conversation, it's about late mid morning. Again, this is all pretty early in the day, by the way. You are sitting there and you see 4 individuals on very fine steeds, which you actually recognize the type of steed. The Renin, which are the fine steeds of the Summer Elves, basically massive fury red kind of haired horses, who shy in comparison to, or greater than most horses, with the exception of unicorns. Just very fast, very noble, very magnificent steeds. The 4 of them are riding about, and it does appear that Lady Aristotle and her company are moving out of the town very quickly. You see them leave.
Would I be able to flag them down?
You attempt to, and they don't seem to stop.
And I would be like, oh shoot.
Roll me a D100.
Yeah, you never know. They may want to hear a great song before they leave. You do not know. All right, hang on a sec. Where the hell is my little thing? My roll 20 is all messed up. Oh, here we go. D100. Here it comes, people. 32 is not going to do it.
It's actually good enough for what I was going to do. What you see is that she kind of looks at you as she's moving and you're getting ready to flag her down. And as you start to kind of wave her attention, she looks over her shoulder and kind of gives you a look. And her normal countenance, outside of the dancing, has always been kind of stern, focused, determined, stoic. And you see that that's what she was portraying before she started to write up. And then you see her face kind of crack. Like you can see there's like this emotional splinter that segments into her as she looks at you and she rides past. Like it's sorrow. You can feel it hit. Like, and then you go, but why? Why do I make her sad? Kind of situation.
Yes. All right. Well, I think what I would do after seeing that would be I would probably go talk to Cyril, because after just having done some studying with him, I could probably get the idea of what's going on from him.
Quothus, unaware of all of this going on, head back and send out your hunters to go out onto the Nadrazi Island to meet up with Lady Aristotle. Are you? How many are you sending?
Leader said a few, so I would say 4 of the 20 that's like kind of part of the town actual guard thing.
Gotcha.
I would send 4 to head out to the gate and So it was never really communicated that anyone was already sent out. So my
No.
kind of instruction would have been to
No,
go
that's not
to.
true. I did say that I had sent Felicia and a few of the guards.
Okay, so the way I heard it was like they're getting ready to leave, and my people are gonna meet up with them and head out.
Play it as you heard it.
Yeah. So it's like heading to the gate to wait up to head out onto the bridge, like meet up, and they can decide whatever they want to if they don't see anyone there. Do
So
they have like
they're
they
waiting to
kind
go, but there's nobody going to show up for them. Got it.
Right.
Roll me a d100.
Right. 51.
It's a pretty quiet day. Anything that you want to research while you're sitting around waiting for any word to go anywhere?
Let's see.
Any like specific movements of any of the hunters? Any any updates on that or anything that's come up in the last 7 days beyond what you've already kind of explored? Any kind of parts of town you want to explore? Any people you want to go and speak to indirectly? Or directly rather, not indirectly.
I'm trying to think. So far, it's pretty been kind of mundane. So, like on my mind, the things that I think have been on Quothus's mind is, just because it came up with the weird murder thing. Someone from the town died. Like reading over reports again to see like any signs and sightings of people that were out on hunts, sort of northern, close to the Sliver Isle. Reading any reports from the Nadrasi Isle, and for any signs of the schism or just movement of the Nadrasi elves, because because of personal history, just has at least a slight beef with one of the people there, if not, and is just he sees them as a possible threat that might need to be dealt with. So he would just be reading over reports, I guess, in his office, trying to see if there's anything to discover about that.
That you're missing, yeah. And basically, it's coming up like a lot of not much. Most of the hunts have been kind of inside of the forest, the Kashaya forest, to the northwest, and they've been for displacer beasts. You remember that Asher went out. Sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. Asher went out not too long ago in one such hunt. You do see that there is a report that Asher and his contingent have returned. According to the ledger here, it does look like they returned with 5 displacer beast hides and some 300 pounds of displacer beast meat, which typically isn't too big a seller. The hides are definitely important. You know that it has been the case that some buyers from the capital, Kulia, have wanted displacer beast hides to create cloaks of displacement, or attempt to create cloaks of displacement. But yeah, those will probably fetch a fair price.
Nice.
But they seem to be back in town, and nothing on the Nadrasi or movements therein. Nobody's moved towards the bridge since your group went last. So
Okay.
no one's actually gone across the big ridge in the last 7 days.
Okay. All right. Lack of information is always fun and wonderful when movements must be made. And then more of like a system mechanical type thing that comes with the oversight of the town. Because I know when I do the establishment rolls, like basically we're at a -2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that like we are paying increased costs? Like I'm just trying to think. I want to be mindful of how can I make us more prosperous.
So the way to think of how that establishment roll goes is you are paying at a penalty. Basically, the reason why you're only affording this much towards it is because you are effectively taking jobs for less. You are effectively trying to undercut your reputation that was negatively affected by the problems in the past. And so a lot of people see it as like a great deal, but the thing is you could be making a bunch more if you didn't have those kind of problems.
Okay.
So that said,
Looking for ways to increase our reputation so that people
Bus-
trust us and we're able to build for what we're actually worth.
you're on to busy work. You see that the attendant of Lady Alcontra enters into the place, which you also note immediately causes. Uh, oh my God! Why is my brain not working?
Fear.
Fenfear to
That guy.
dart into the back room and kind of just disappear from the front where you're kind of going over the paperwork, leaving you and Nancy present
Yeah.
here.
My
She-
eyes follow Fenfear, and there's kind of like a slight like shake of my head, like, ugh, that man.
She looks to you,
I mean, he is appropriately named Fenfear.
nothing in hand, um, and she states, "You are required to speak to Lady Alcontra tomorrow morning at dawn."
Any idea what you need to talk to me about?
No. She kind of.
I'm not in trouble, do you think? I don't know what I could have done.
She thinks about what was stated to her. I suppose it's not terribly need to know. The thing that caused the request for your presence tomorrow is that Lady Aristotle has moved into the keep and has quickly left it. They came in on horseback and appear to be migrating through the town southwards towards Medicia and onward to the capital via the Talvi River. From what I was able to overhear.
When she first said like she's like already returned, I'd probably be like, oh shite. And then she was like, well, I guess I'll send Fenfear to go grab the boys from the gates.
You can
They're
draw.
still there.
You can draw whatever conclusions you wish to, but I don't suggest entering into the meeting with Lady Alcontra with any preconceived notions, especially if they are built on your assumptions.
Oh, all is I sent some men out to go meet up, to head out to the bridge to meet up with Lady Aristotle, and she's already back. There's no need to have them out there.
You should probably recall them.
Hopefully they haven't left on their own volition.
Have a good day.
Yes. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, oh great.
You see Fenfear going. Is she still here?
No, she's left.
Okay. Comes back out and goes back to his work.
What happened? Like,
Huh?
I know the authority figure and all the like. I don't like them either. But like, what causes you to be so nervous?
I don't
friend?
trust her. She's really weird. Like, I feel like she's really fake. Like, there's something about her. I don't know what it is, but she just feels really fake. Like, he kind of looks down and says, "It might be just because I'm nervous around women, or do you ever get the feeling that someone's just gonna rip their face off and like be some kind of like demon or something underneath?"
Very rarely, maybe, but
Well, that's the vibe I get with her. Okay.
I trust your instincts. Back when we were running around as little kids, stealing what we could, you always had some of the best instincts of us. So I don't know what this means, but if you can find out more, I'd be interested just for a nice little story to share.
I'm not going near her.
Don't go near her, but see if you can pick up clues around town or something on your off time if you feel free.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, keep in mind, guys, we do have one more betrayal.
Also, so the guys I sent out to go meet up with Valicia, if you could maybe send a runner or go yourself to go see if they're still at the gates.
Yeah, I'll go get him. I need the fresh air anyways.
All right.
You see him step outside and then pop back in and kind of like rest against the wall. Oh, she's still out there. You go outside and you see that she's walking away. After a fashion, you see him pop out and head in that direction.
I at this point, am. I need to get my emotions in check because I don't like meeting with the lady of the town. So I want to stop by Kaylin and inform her that I'm headed off to the temple to go visit Halo.
Okay. She says. Yeah, that's fine.
Guys, I think I figured this out. I'm the Regina George of this group, aren't I?
Yeah. Um, Halo would be at the guard barracks when you arrive at the temple. Alvin would leave from the guard barracks pretty much at the same time. Halo's probably going, again, minutes difference, but would be leaving from the guard barracks and heading back to the docks, and your office is therein, or do you have other business, Alvin?
I want to get my ships, if I have any fleets, recalled from the warring areas that are about to. And
Okay, so you're pulling your ships in
I'm trying to get them back. Yeah.
because it seems it seems strange here. Okay,
I don't want to. I don't want them to be stranded.
gotcha.
If they're, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and any ships that are set to leave, are you holding them till
Oh,
war on?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the main thing that'll probably be coming up primarily. But there are some ships that do kind of frequent Kasari Yanwi more proper, specifically fishing vessels, which would have sending stones that are left on their ships and left with your office, which you can basically go, Roger, Niner, whatever the boatman talk would be, to get
I
them.
wouldn't say why. I would say nothing of war, but I would
Recall the ships.
need to recall the ship urgently.
Okay. All right. And then, so Halo would be arriving after Ulair at the temple. Leaf.
I'm going to the keep to talk to Alcantara if I can. I'm not going
So
back.
you'll be heading to the
I just
keep,
saw-
and
yeah.
Alcantara won't be there because she's at the tower. Then she'll be migrating to the tower. So you'll arrive before she does there because you're leaving from the barracks, which is closer to the keep than the tower. And then
Yep.
the tower, Cyril, you're staying and you're playing book tidying. Alcantara.
Well, sort of. I would actually want Alberic the page to fetch Kothas.
Guys,
Okay.
it's good that we just stay together as a party all the time,
No,
so
it's-
that this doesn't happen.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay, and then Leaf.
Sorry, it's what I want.
After that moment of strangeness, what did you say you wanted to do right after that? Was it go see Alcantara? No. Do you want to just?
No, it was close. I was gonna go see Cyril. Because I wanted to ask him what happened, and I don't want to. I figured he'll know what's gonna happen with
Because he's an
Alcantara.
advisor to Alcantara. You don't. Yeah, you don't have to.
Advisor, so-
I was hoping that he'd want to see Alvin.
Well, that's somebody who's where they're present. So
I've never met Alvin.
structure. Ready? Here we go. Alvin's pretty much handled. No necessary things to do there. Your business will be happening. Good.
I'm
Lair-
sorry. What did you say? I was Natalie needed something.
Your business is going to be going
Yeah, yeah.
It's perfect. It happens as you just described it. So nothing needs to be handled there. Lair, you're arriving at the temple, and Halo won't be present. We'll cover that in a second. We've got one on the docket. Halo, you'll be going to the temple, or no, to the keep, and Alcantara will arrive after you. Okay, and then Cyril is at the tower, where Leaf will be arriving. So the easiest one for me to deal with initially will be Leaf and Cyril. Go. The Leaf, you arrive. You are led in by not Alberic, who's not present. It would be Bernard.
I would say, hello, Cyril. I have something to ask you about.
So Cyril says, "Oh, Leaf, it's good to see you again." You see that Cyril is up and messing with his books or rearranging his books. Go ahead.
I would say, what has happened? Did you find a bunch of books you need to dig out for a new project you're working on, or?
You would also note that just down like a shelf or two, a ways away, you can see Arave is also maneuvering books strangely, and she seems to have a stack building up on a table in the middle. She looks to you for guidance, and then kind of looks to leave.
What do you say?
Zero would say, well, you know us mages, we're always studying, books, books, books.
Make a deception check. And Leaf, make an insight check.
Son
Oh,
of a
that's right.
gun.
I have a decent insight. I might.
I have a horrible deception.
I rolled a 16.
I rolled a 16.
So the defender in this case would be the one who is
No,
Deceiving.
So insight 16 matches your 16, effectively hitting your AC. So Leaf, you sense you don't get the gist of why it's a lie, but it seems that he is definitely pettifogging the situation
Right.
with the comment of mages, you know how they are.
And then what I would say when he says that, to not let on that I know he's lying, I'd be like, oh, well, being eccentric is the thing about mages that makes them so, so lovable. So, I love that about mages, so don't worry about it.
good man, good man.
And then I would say, but I have to tell you first, I saw, I would probably describe them as the four horsemen of life because it was Aristotle and her companions riding down on these beautiful steeds. But what they actually seemed more like was the four horsemen of death because they looked so sad, and the sorrow in her eyes when I cut eyes with her was I could feel it in my heart. So I want to know what is going on.
So John, out of character, I would know that this is becoming more public information, right? It's just not a big.
No. You would know that this is the only people who should know about this are you, Lady Alcantara, and that's it. Based on what
Okay.
Aristotle said, there's no way Leaf should know this. That there's something happening. Leaf usually just sits in his house and plays gigs, and now he's just showing up at your tower like, tell me the juicy gossip.
And
But
I'm going to
Alvin
remind
knows
you,
this,
I'm
right?
already suspicious of him for stuff.
We are
So
study bros.
I've
Study.
already talked to you about my suspicions about Leaf. I'm
It's
just
very
putting that in the
true.
mix.
Yeah.
But out of character, Alvin knows what's happening, though, right?
Yes.
You don't know that though.
But you
I don't know that, yeah.
but-
So it seemed as if she was upset upon her return. If you wish to know more, you would have to ask Lady Alcantara.
Oh,
Talk to the hand.
boy.
This is great.
Cyril, I see you need to work on this gossip portion of your life. You really have a lot to a lot left open. So I'm just saying, I know you have a job where you have the ear of an important person. So I understand that, but
Oh, Leaf, I wish all of us could be as carefree as you.
you would not believe it. I used to do. I was a courtier, as you know, in. Oh shit! I forgot the name of that place.
Oz novel.
Yeah, I knew that one.
All of that's
Anyway.
in character.
Oh shit.
No.
And
was-
so as Leaf starts to spin out this tale,
Yeah.
Cyril would look at Arave and give her the eye to somehow make up an excuse to escort Leaf out.
Okay.
I'd say, as you know, I was a courtier at S Noble, and I did that for 20 years, and I found out that it is a drag. You're working all the time. You're always it's always politics, and it's like gossip, but it's the bad gossip. Like someone hates someone, and
Okay.
it was just all bullshit.
So this
I gave that up.
this is an interesting game we're gonna play here because you've entered into a really interesting dynamic. So Leaf, you're trying to kind of get information and glean it from Cyril. You have an idea that there's information to be earned here, right? That's your intention,
Right.
trying to linger.
Yeah.
And Cyril, you're trying to cart him out and block that, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I need the two of you to both roll influence checks.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh wait, what's my influence? I gotta find out what that is.
So
Mine is 3.
I
yeah.
gotta
What do I
write
do
it
with
down.
your influence should just be, bear with me here.
Mine is 3.
Mine's 5. I got an advantage.
So you'll roll a d20 plus that number and then compare.
D20. Let's do a D20. Oh, I'm beating him. 18.
Okay. So basically in the midst of this dialogue, you feel like there's a sense of your composure kind of shattering here. You'll lose 6 composure from this dialogue, um, Andy, but you still have composure remaining. So you can remain in your attempt to try and block him, basically remove him out of the dialogue and segment him out of it, like you've stated that you've intended to do, at the risk of having to roll again. You lose no composure, Leaf, and you basically have the upper hand in this dialogue, and you can see that he's becoming tense and like kind of it's very apparent that he wants you to go, and Ereve doesn't seem to be helping in any way. So you can either continue this attempt to get the information from Cyril, or you can break off and feel like you've kind of entered a stage in the dialogue that's um, problematic.
Right. Well, I feel I see the problem, and I don't want to put him in a tough situation because I don't want to.
Because I would never, confide in you if you do
Right,
this.
right. He's an advisor to somebody important. So what I would say is I'd put my and I'd be like, oh, Cyril, I see that you are under a lot of pressure right now, and I know you do not mean anything against me as a friend. So I will just leave if you have something that you need to do, and we'll catch up later sometime. Okay? Please take it easy. Would you like me to play some relaxing music or something more upbeat to help you work? Because I could do either. I mean, 3-minute song. It's not the big deal. I could leave you like with uplifted even, Music is great for the soul.
As you see yourself out. Thank you.
Real quick,
Okay, I
sorry,
will
sorry.
play
Hold on, hold on,
the
hold on.
tune.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Andy, make an insight check.
You may not be able to resist this. You know how great my music is.
This is a baseline DC.
Oh, he's trying to screw with me?
No.
No, I'm not
He's trying to screw with
you.
me? 21.
It's real music, man.
So Leaf, and also Kevin, kind of in what he said. He says, "You're busy. You have something to do," and kind of gestures towards the books, which makes you kind of sink into Leaf for a second and kind of realize, yeah, he knows I'm lying. Like, and you realize that he's picked up on the books, and you're kind of like, you don't think he knows what that means. You just know that there's a suspicion based on the books, and he might have picked up a title or two.
Okay.
Intrigue.
Bye.
Kill him now.
All right.
All right.
He sees you out.
As I leave, I'm gonna try to strum a few really uplifting notes on my
You
lute,
do,
just to try to get.
but because of his composure breaking a bit there, he probably doesn't get too much meaning from them. Erve kind of
I'm
looks.
gonna roll performance because I'm a bard.
That's fine. Rolling performance is important. Sure, I'm not asking you for it, but you can roll it. You're really
a pretty good performance as I'm leaving.
pretty good, and it's got that
Pretty decent.
lingering effect where it's kind of drowning out because you're walking away.
Right.
Erve looks to you after the song is no longer audible and says, I haven't had a chance to ask you directly, but what are we doing here? Why are we putting these all here?
So did she notice that I had hidden away some books and locked them up?
She's helped you, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're doing the cleanup process is when he kind of came in.
Right.
And she's like, what? I understand what you're hiding. I get it. It would take. I would have to be really dumb to not get what's going on here. What happened with the Lady Aristotle? Why are you doing this?
I'm not ready to talk about that just yet.
She sighs out loud. You notice like a strange sense of like, again, you're a teacher, so you know when questions are asked out of turn, like you probably react to those questions differently than you'd react to a question that's asked when the time's appropriate. And you feel like she knows she's treaded ground, like that she wasn't supposed to. She kind of stops and breathes out loud for a second there and says, do you need my help with anything else?
No, thank you, Arve. Thanks for your help.
She heads off into the tower. All right. You've already sent Alberic out, and you sent him out for
Quothus.
and Quothus is at the temple. All right. Out of character scene, you see Alberic kind of standing, looking at Fenrir. Where did you say he went? Um, the temple, I think. Thank you. Turns and leaves. Okay.
It probably would have been Kalen, but
Well, yeah, Fenrir left. No, Fenrir would have been back by the time because he was just down the way.
but
Okay.
I don't know if he knew I was going to the temple.
Oh, well, I mean, he probably talked to Kalen, but yeah, Kalen will tell him.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
Yeah. You arrive at the temple, and you can see that most of the people are kind of getting settled in for midday food. And you would note that you're approached pretty quickly by Flaxius, the groundskeeper. Furbolg, big tall guy, walked up to you. Hey.
How you doing, Flaxius?
I'm-
How's the weather up there?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Are you here to see? Are you here to see? Isendare or?
Yeah. Does Halo happen to be in?
Not at all.
When do you expect him back?
Last I saw him was very early in the morning, when he flew off to the keep to give information about the projects we're working on to Lady Alcandra, but I haven't seen him since.
Do you mind if I share a meal and wait for him?
Of course, not a problem. We've got plenty of food. And since he's not here to eat, you can have his meal. It starts off big, it makes it tiny, so it'll serve you.
Thank you kindly.
Alright. Yeah, pretty simple root vegetables and some stewed meat. Or not meat, some stewed like mushrooms. I like meat. They don't.
Brings me back to childhood.
Yeah. Alright. Halo, you arrive at the keep, and Lady Alcantara is not there. You are greeted by Saleh, who sees you. Just when it was about to get quiet. Yeah. How can I help you?
Oh, I'm just waiting for the lady.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get back to my. You don't need anything.
No. Actually, while I'm waiting, do you know of any lights or fixtures that need looking at or fixing while I'm in the air?
You were just out here a couple of days
There's
ago.
nothing over that break. I don't worry about it. I'm just asking to ask.
he kind of just wanders away. About 15 or so minutes later, Lady Alcantara, you were headed to the keep, right?
Yes.
You
Yes,
arrive.
I was.
You arrive at the keep, and just as you're entering into the main room, you hear footfall coming up behind you. Turn and look over your shoulder and see that it is Valesha. Who immediately looks
So
to
wait,
Halo.
she's already done with the keeping an hour-long
Oh,
watch on
right.
the thing.
No. You're right. Sorry. My time matters got mixed up. Sorry. You're right. She's not there. I'm a liar. Thank you for keeping me in check. It's just Halo.
When I see you, what kind of look's on your face, Matt?
I'm going to say that I'm going with a poker face. Poker face. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep like a straight face and, you know.
It went that well, did it? Because if you're not happy, it didn't go well.
I don't know what at all you're talking about, Halo.
Well, you told me to come back later when the, guard came back through. We both know the guard has come back through.
Yes, I believe I sent you a message to that matter.
Oh, and I couldn't be here if I got that message.
You never got it.
Right? Like, I couldn't be here in this room if I got a message from you.
I mean, you could be. They're not mutually exclusive. But I'll take it from your response that you did not get my message.
No. So you're gonna tell me what went on?
Well, if you're here, and it's not because of my message, I should ask you what went down.
I love her so much.
I told you I was going back to the temple, so I went back to the temple, and the people at the temple said that they passed the temple already, so I flew back here. And then I passed Alvin, who was following the guard with the captain, and the captain and the guard, and then Alvin and I went to where the guard sleeps. It's the place where the guard sleeps. The guard sleep place. The guard sleep place.
The barracks. It's called the barracks.
The barracks. That's where we went to. We went to the barracks. In the barracks is where they put down this like weird sheet of paper, man. And I'm pretty sure they created a teleportation circle inside of our town capital without, asking. So there's now a teleportation circle in the middle of our town.
Good, that'll make things simpler.
And what things might those be, milady?
We're having some new recruits come from the capital.
Oh, is that what we're calling them? Recruits? Is
For
that what we're
discretion-
putting it on the fucking posters?
For discretion's sake, yes, we are calling them recruits.
Goddamn fascist.
I told you I was playing a power-hungry political figure.
Man. I think this town needs some anarchy. And how do we feel about these recruits entering our town and using our vital resources, pushing our civilians out of their homes, and taking food off their tables for a war they didn't get involved in because it has nothing to do with our people or our kingdom?
You ask really good questions.
Well, unfortunately, things don't go always the way that we wish to. It's not as though I necessarily desire these people to be here, and it's not as though I necessarily have the say over everything that happens. Unfortunately, as much as we would like to delude ourselves into thinking that we are the ones that hold the power in this town, we necessarily do not always hold as much power as we'd like to think we do.
That is something that me and my people can very much agree with, my lady. Very much. So, when should we expect these new, guards? Oh, sorry.
Recruits!
Gotta get the fucking propaganda right.
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I can imagine that they will be arriving rather soon.
Ideally within the hour, as soon as that teleportation circle is set. No.
I don't know if they'll be here that quickly, seeing as Lady Arisnodal will have to return to the capital, and as she's going on horse, I doubt she will be back there within the hour, but it also depends on if she is able to send messages quickly from her position.
And what's to happen of the people? Are they to be evacuated from the town?
For the time being, no. Hopefully we can avoid anything too traumatic. If it does come to it, of course we will do everything that we can to keep our people safe, though.
And what steps are we making to do so? Are we going to be posting out on the road, the bridge? Shall we be posting out on the Nadrasi Isle? Have we confirmed what our sister city on the other side of the bridge is doing? What the dwarves have planned? Are they cutting off trade? Should we be recalling our merchants from port cities across the dwarf isle? Have you asked these questions, or did you just take what the lady said?
Well, I assume that Alvin is going to already be calling back his ships and trying to make sure that his things are secure, seeing as I think he heard more than he should have.
Hmm.
As for what we're going to be doing, we are going to be trying to make sure that we secure the Nadrasi Isle before it is unable to be secured. And for our sister city, I believe that they will not be so friendly to our knocking on their door.
Pardon and I don't mean to question you, my lady, but your use of the term recruit has me concerned about the use of the term secure. And I hope you can understand what I mean when you say secure the Nadrasi Isle. And I'm hesitant.
I mean that we want to make sure that that resource is not forcefully withheld from us. I don't necessarily mean that we necessarily go to war over it, but at least
That
make sure that we don't lose.
resource? There's
Well, yes.
people on that island. You know that, my lady.
Yes, and we will be talking with them also. I've already sent for Quothus so that he can go and speak with them.
Speak with them about what?
About whether or not they will defend the island from the Adamant Isle or not.
Sounds like they might have to defend themselves from us, milady.
We are going to make sure that they. Sorry. We are trying to make sure that they do not have to defend themselves from us. That is why I want to spend Quothus so that he can speak with them. We're not trying.
Yes, the master wordsmith, the hunter. That should go swimmingly.
Well, I don't imagine that he will go by himself. He seems to be quite attached to that bard of his.
Yeah, you want to have a dragon smash a tower? Let's do this. Send him in. No, actually, I trust Quothus. That guy's cool as fuck. Sorry, I'll shut up.
He at least has a bit of a history with those people, even if it is slightly unpleasant with at least one in particular. I'd hope that things are amicable enough between them.
I ask only that my people start being allowed to gather provisions should we need to evacuate the town.
I think that's perfectly reasonable, and I also think, in case we do need to evacuate, we should look into the town to the south. See if any of those ruins are in enough of a condition where, if need be, we could set something up temporarily there.
My people have been building for some time. It might actually be beneficial for us to get some of the temple recruits out there sooner rather than later. Start laying some foundations and some proprietary work. I'm
I think
sure Philaxius would be happy to identify several individuals who could lead a survey team at the very least.
that would be a wise idea.
Hmm. Would you like them to be accompanied by hunters or guards? Or should they go alone?
Well, I believe that things are safe enough now that guards are not necessary, but if you want them, I shall definitely send them with you.
Honestly, don't get me wrong, my lady. I appreciate your idea, but the hunters, if the Nadrasi Island is not to be used as a hunting grounds, perhaps they could use another task. And escorting my people to the southern ruins would be a good use of their time, no?
It could be quite good use of their time.
She'll bring it up with Quothus. You said did you send for him to come here or
He will be here tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning? Yes, then I imagine I have a meeting with him planned this evening. If you'll excuse me.
All right.
And Halo,
Yes.
before you go, I know that you and I do not necessarily see eye to eye, but I would prefer rumors not to be spread more just because I don't want people to panic. We have already gone through a lot this past week, and panic can breed more trouble than it can solve usually. I don't say this because I don't want to make sure our people are safe. Or I don't say this to make our people unsafe, but because I don't want them to, at the same time, I don't want them to be overly concerned at the same time. There's always life that's going on, and I just
I
want to make sure
only
we don't.
have one question for you, my lady. Is a rumor if it's untrue? I shall do nothing to lie to my people. They shall be well informed, and they shall make their right and wise decision, as I have guided them before, and as I have guided them now. Trust me, I've been doing this for a long, long time.
Well, I shall leave it up to your discretion. I do just ask that you at least do not cause panic. That will help no one.
Trying to quell a rumor is a real good way to start a panic. And I'm gonna fly off.
Cut from you all. Snap to Alvin. You're kind of busy at work, recalling. You've already sent a couple of messengers out and about to make sure ships that are set off the port leave tomorrow not to be allowed to leave. A couple of people have asked for your audience in response to these messages, but no audience has been given. But you hear a knock at your door.
I'll have a guard see to who it is.
Okay. The guard moves towards the door and then comes back to you and says, it is Balthar, Kalamug, my lord.
Send them in. Quickly.
The door opens up. Older dwarf kind of stumbles in. Massive gauntlets on his hands. Gray cloak over his back. Steps into the room. Looks at you.
Hail, my friend.
Hail. So I've been hearing some troubling news. A lot of movement in and around the keep. It seems that the ambassador that the lady spoke to 7 or so days ago returned very quickly and moved through the town just as quickly outside of my gates on the southwestern side. So, as always, I will tell you what I know, and you can tell me what you know.
Of course. It is common in our exchanges.
I also understand that you are recalling and landlocking your ships.
Why might I be doing that, my friend?
The only thing I can think of is problems across the Narrow Isles Gap.
Astute. Quite astute.
The other side of the big bridge is causing problems. Darkhelm or a rival force?
I don't want to speak on that yet.
Fair.
I've not verified it.
Out of character question for Matt. Sorry, I didn't see whether or not you sent an invitation for Alvin for tomorrow morning or not.
Currently, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think so of anything that I had for him at
Just making sure. I didn't see who all was included in the message. Yeah, because I just have the reminder note here from the side there, so apologies. Okay. Balthar kind of looks to you and says, interesting information, to be sure. I can tell you that your problems at sea seem to be stemming from little more than overreaction. You see, from what I understand, there have been problems up in the Sliver Isle um, and other fishing communities along the northern coast of the Rended Island. And the problems that besiege them also besiege the pirates under the Big Bridge.
Speak plainly. What are these problems?
Attackers, vessels that came from a field, not pirates, privateers that serve under the Empire's reign.
I had a feeling there were more than pirates. It's too. The pirates are usually chaotic and crazed. These are directed. The attacks.
Aye. But as you understand, the Enclave isn't about structure. That's dwarven prominence. So the northern coasts are places where people are allowed to live freely and do as they please, which is preferred. Those structures that were built by the dwarves were always, at least to me, nothing more than shackles. But unfortunately, loose ground makes for easy stepping points for others. It seems that there are Altarian forces on the northern coast of the Rended Isles, according to information I've garnered from those villages.
Do we know how well armed?
I do not know for certain. I have the word of people I trust.
It's as good as any, I suppose.
I agree. But the numbers, I do not know. I doubt it is much more than a scouting party. At least 2 to 3 vessels capable of bringing down small bandit and pirate groups along the bridge.
Scouting parties are always hard to find.
But if the Altarians are moving in this direction, it leads me to a bit of concern with what you've stated. If it is true that the Darkhelm Kingdom is moving on this coast, and they have assistance from the north, even albeit small, but not warned about, it could prove a very dangerous gambit indeed. He says as he kind of seems to be kind of toying with something on one of your tables, and you're not really paying attention to it. You're still kind of looking at your paperwork, making sure all the ships are handled. And when you kind of look over where he's at, he's standing next to your dragon chessboard, and he's toying with a piece, which is what again, dragon chess is very similar to just regular chess. He's toying with the bishop, diagonal moving, far moving piece that can come in from sideways.
Okay. Nadrisi?
The Isle does seem to be a very important point in any potential attacks on the Enclave. At least, that seems to be what everyone believes. But a hard
If we
eye,
were to sever the bridge between Nadrisi and Darkhelm, yet still
impossible.
hold the Isle,
You cannot.
why?
You cannot break the stonework of the ancient dwarves. Unless you have some powers that I'm not aware of, Alvin. What did your father the strong teach you? You're able to break stone so strong.
I just ask questions.
No, I understand, but understand as strong as your father was, he understood that the bridge was a permanent fixture.
Maybe the foundations.
Impossible.
No, I'm saying the foundations are the strongest.
Yeah. The bridge. The best analogy I could have given. Have you played Twilight Princess for Zelda? Twilight Princess or no?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Basically, it's a big ass stone bridge, and
Right.
it's very well made. But he kind of looks to you again, kind of shrugging. If we can get the ear of Lady Alcontra, she would probably be um, keen to have this information concerning the matters to the north of here. I also think that if Alteria is focused and the numbers account for it, you may want to check into this yourself, but destroying pirates may not be
It's a simple matter now. Yeah.
well, no, you're not thinking of it as I'm thinking about it.
They're useful.
Sell swords and the like work for whoever gives them the coin.
Right.
It may be the case that some of them were, instead of demolished, recruited.
That's exactly. Perhaps their business is made legitimate.
Well, if this area is, if it goes the way that I assume they ultimately wish it to, then who knows what benefits could be promised. He turns towards the door and then stops for a second, looks back over his shoulder. If you are invited to speak with Alcontra, Lady Gelshay, please make sure to send me a missive or request that I also join in attendance. I would also offer the same courtesy to our other compatriot, although I'm not sure how much this will affect him. Meanwhile, back at the temple, Halo, is that where you were headed? You arrived shortly after lunch, and you find that Ulair is waiting for you there. You were expecting to head from there off to go and speak to him, but no, there he is.
My friend, it's good to see you. It's so good to see you. Oh, we have much to discuss, do we not?
Oh, fuck. Yes, we do, I guess.
It's okay. Come. Walk with me. So I want to like take him away from as many people as possible. So it's just kind of the two of us, well away from anyone in earshot.
Okay.
So what brings you to see me, I suppose?
Well, oh gosh, all that talking, I'm spacing out myself on the exact wording of what I was gonna say. Well, basically, it seems like things are moving faster than we expected, with Lady Ethersnoddle showing up earlier than expected. Now I got some summons by Lady Alcontra, and I can't imagine what that's about. And I don't know. I'm just, I guess, something's not, might be uneasy. I don't know. And then, yes.
Well,
anyway,
I hope it.
I was looking to get a mood adjustment.
If I could,
calm me down.
The easiest way to calm you down would be to simply inform you of what I've found out. First and foremost, the Adamant Isle has barricaded off the other end of the bridge. They're being adverse to us, and we're being tasked with well, you're specifically, you are being tasked with securing the Nadrasi Isle. We're going to be receiving recruits from the capital, some new recruits of the Twilight Guards, some lovely, our boys in black, and they'll be entering the town. Nobody's being ordered to evacuate. Nobody's being rushed to any rash decisions. And I believe tomorrow morning is the beginning of the war plans. Yes.
Do they realize that I'm not a soldier, I'm a hunter? That I'm here to make sure our town's business prospers, not to go mean, sure, I can't stand my dad, and I know he's there somewhere, and who knows what'll happen if we see each other face to face. But, and I'm slightly suspicious of the people on that island, just because I don't know.
A chef knows the difference between a serrated knife and a paring knife and a chef's knife. A politician doesn't see the difference between a blade and a blade and a blade. I'm very sorry, my friend.
Ugh. I mean, there's no way I can put my own hunters on something like this, because it's. I mean, if we have to fight others in the course of our work, so be it. But to be sent there purposefully,
It's
and
not your mission. It's not been
No.
your mission.
no, and you're sending me to talk to people.
Wasn't my idea either, brother. Wasn't my idea either.
This is why I fucking hate authority. Boy, all they do is cause you trouble.
And there's going to be a lot more of them around. The captain of the guard is being replaced with someone from the capital, so someone with more experience in something like this, I suppose.
Someone with a stiffer boot.
Yeah.
Boy, well, what would you say? How would you guide me in the words I should speak? 'Cause I mean, I don't know. I can feel my temper rising up, and I worry I might say things that wouldn't be too wise in front of the lady.
I wish I had better words for you, brother. My only experience with the Najasi Isle people are those that come here. I haven't spent much time there.
The two of you don't miss for a second the massive furbolg walking over in your direction, holding a piece of paper, and walks over to you, and doesn't know that he's interrupting something.
Yeah.
Because what's that? And walks over to you with a piece of paper and hands it to you. And as he does, it shrinks to your size. The lady stopped by and dropped this off. Well, one of the lady's people. It's a note. It says to meet Lady Alcantara in the morning.
The whole gang's being summoned, isn't it?
I need the list, Matt, because I don't know who else. Because I don't want to give Leaf a note if he wasn't invited.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. In terms of meeting tomorrow, I mean, tomorrow morning, the only person I had asked to meet was Prothus.
I thought you sent you didn't you say you sent a message to Halo while you were talking to Halo?
That was for today. To meet with him today, or not to meet with him. That was for me to tell him that, what was it? Lady Aersnadel had already passed.
Then that's the note. That is the note. There was a note that was sent to you, and that's the note you got.
Oh, that's the note that I'm just getting now. Is that
Yes.
Lady Aristotle is?
Okay. I knew there was a note that was sent to you.
Yeah.
Meeting tomorrow. I pull out the note, and it's literally the note that says. I literally look at it and I look up at Flaxseed and says, "You told me this an hour ago. Did you not read it?"
Oh yeah. Heads off.
Spot on again, my friend. Spot on again. Oh, gotta love him.
I thought I got sent it. Never mind. Keep talking.
Yeah. No. I sent. It was a little confusing because I did send a note to both of them at the same time, but I said to Prothus I sent that she already passed through and I wanted to see him in the morning, and to Halo I simply said that she had already passed through.
Got it.
Do as you fucking want. I don't care about you.
I feel like Prothus is a. Do you think the lady might be feeling a bit overwhelmed? Sending notes to you about information you already have?
Well, I think it was more of a timing issue.
Or Flaxius read the note, told you it was on it, and then realized he still had the note, and then handed it to you.
He's also a relatively incompetent individual, and I don't expect much from him. The man grows a big green garden. That's about it.
Well, he has confidence there, doesn't he? We all have our giftings.
Yeah, I mean, cross-species hybridization is a interesting phenomenon when you listen to the man discuss it, but ask him to do simple math and fucking
Accurate.
Well, one of these days, I'll see if I can invest the money to get you a dedicated teacher for the orphanage.
they're doing all right. They know how to survive, and I think that's the most important thing now.
True, true. Well, we'll see how I make out, but so far, I guess I'm doing okay.
Ain't dead yet.
Alright, segment off from you two, and moving back to the keep, which is the only threat I've still got, I think.
Andy sent someone to get me that went to the place, and then it's the double.
Okay, then we'll say that they arrived just then at the end of your conversation, and then are directed to you. It's Albrecht, and he looks to you, Ulair, and he says, "Oh, yes, you, Cyril, talk. He wants you at the tower. This is
Like-
shit work.
Yeah, like now.
What? Whenever, I guess. Whenever.
We'll let them know I'll be there. Be
Okay.
there as soon as I can later this evening.
Okay. So back at the keep, about an hour after you last saw her, Valesha arrives in hastily into the keep. Lady.
Right. I was going to say I'm actually probably just to sort of like set what's going on. I'm probably in my room working on like writing up something so that I can notify the town as to what's happening and why they'll be seeing Twilight guards.
Do you
I
hear
want to
a knock on the door?
enter.
Valesha enters in. She seems to kind of take a second to make herself a little bit more presentable, and steps into the room, closing the door behind her. Milady,
I've heard that I'm going to be getting a new captain soon, I think. I'd also like to say I'm still looking down, writing, while I'm saying.
I serve at your pleasure, she says, and you can hear the hurt in the tone.
Is there any particular reason why Lady Aristotle is sending a new captain for me?
I presume to make sure that the efforts on the bridge and the coast are handled correctly. She, I'm sorry. I should have spoke out of turn. I'm sorry. There's something I wanted to tell you, and they've already done it, and you probably already know about it. The circle.
Yes, Halo's informed me.
Lady.
I'm going to put the pen down and turn and look at her.
Milady, the last time there was a magical item in your presence, a magical thing in your presence, I didn't heed the warnings. I would suggest you bring your advisor in to check this circle. I just don't feel safe with it, with this kind of... She stops for a second, kind of breathes. If the bridge is present, we know that there's an enemy that can come across it. We know how to defend a bridge. If an enemy comes across the sea, we know how to defend against boats, on boats. If an enemy comes out of the woods, we know how to defend against enemies that would come out of the woods. And against the plains as well, milady. Even from the air, we have tactics we can employ. But if someone is able to manipulate that circle, I don't think I can stop that.
Well, I think that is a fair point.
I tried to tell Aristotle it was an unwise idea and that moving the troops by land would not take that much time. But she insisted, and her Twilight Knights performed the act in your barracks.
Yes, well, you know, I'm not the favorite person when it comes to respect. That was poorly phrased. I'm not the most respected person by everyone, I should say.
I respect you, and I follow you loyally. I know that I have not been a pinnacle of good decisions, but
Valesha, do you know why it is that I keep you around and why I made you captain of the guards?
I assumed it was because the former captain of the guard left after your father, well after your father, and Sir. I don't
Well,
know.
that's the obvious reason. But why would I pick you in particular? I obviously need to pick someone when that man left, but still, why you?
Because I won't keep secrets from you.
Oh, that might be useful, but it's not as though I couldn't figure out secrets if I needed to. No, the reason why I picked you is because you make incredibly stupid mistakes sometimes. But you also learn from your incredibly stupid mistakes. You don't tend to make them again.
That's you can kind of see like a
I
little
don't
bit
mean that as a
of a tear kind of welling up in her eye, and she says to you,
yeah.
I wanted to break the circle after they told me to watch it, milady. And I didn't because I feared your reprisal. I will make sure that there is a guard at it at every hour, every moment of the day. If anything comes through it that is not welcome in this place, it will be dispatched.
I think that's good. And also, I hope you realize I did not mean what I said as an insult.
No,
There's plenty of people who make stupid mistakes and never learn from them and continue making them till the day they die.
I didn't take it as an insult, milady. I understand, and I hope that this isn't another mistake. I feel in my stomach that this tether might be manipulated. Alright, do you have anything else to say to her before I migrate to a terminus?
I mean, the only other thing I was going to say was just something about, like, you know, even if she's not captain, I still expect her to...
She's going to serve as your
her
cohort.
duty.
She's going to serve as
Yeah.
your cohort, even if a new captain is set in place. So yeah.
And then also tell her that if she wishes to send someone to Cyril to have him take a look at the circle, to do so at her leisure.
Immediately.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
At her leisure.
Then, Cyril, go ahead and make an Arcana check if you are willing to go and investigate the circle.
Sure, if I'm called. I don't know anything about the circle. The shocking.
I can't even give you inspiration.
That's shockingly bad. I'm so sorry, Matt.
Dude, are you kidding me? I love failure sometimes, and I think it's fantastic right now in a oh god, we're gonna die.
You have got
sort
it.
of way.
You have gotten that fail. Look, good John. John's like, what am I gonna do here? How am I gonna use this?
Betrayal.
Andy, roll a d100.
You explode.
For those watch
Himself somewhere.
Teleports
He
himself
teleports
to
half
planes
of
of
himself.
hell.
for those watching at home, he rolled 2 ones on his 2 dice that he rolled for the Arcana check. Okay.
Oh man. God damn it, Andy.
I'm still saying he teleports half of himself.
Okay. So during the process of inspecting the the markings here, you get this feeling that immediately, like something's watching you through it. Just a very strange vibe. The glyph seems to be all on the up and up, not too dissimilar from the teleportation circle in your own tower. You're pretty sure that once you're capable of casting the spell that connects these circles, you'll be able to connect here to your tower. You could teleport from here to your tower or here to the source location if you have it circled. But it just feels like there is something watching you right now while you're looking it over. And it's a vibe you can't shake.
I would mention that to Lady Alcontra
At your next meeting.
at my next meeting.
Yep. With that information, I'm going to go ahead and call it for the evening. We'll be picking up tomorrow, day-wise, not tomorrow in real life. We'll be picking up next Friday, but in storyline-wise, we'll be picking up the next day. Now it's still midday, like just afternoon, so I will open it up to everyone in the side chat to let me know if there's anything that you want to do with the remainder of your day before we lead to the meeting between Quothus and Alcantara. All right, I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. Thanks for watching, those that did, and have a good one.